order the special meeting for February the 4th, the special meeting today. Roll call.
Councilmember Basua,
Here.
Councilmember Lopez,
Here.
Councilmember Perello,
Here.
Mayor Zaragoza,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald.
Here.
I have an announcement. Councilmember Madrigal is in traffic due to an accident on the 101, but will be joining us very shortly. Thank you.
And Madam Clerk, we posted the agenda today.
Yes, we did. We did post the agenda, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Our next item is the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence to Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States. Please follow me. Thank you so much. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we have, before we share a little bit about public comments, we'd like the city manager like to make a few comments regarding COVID-19.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And if I could please ask our panelists tonight to mute yourselves until you are called upon to speak. We're getting a lot of feedback. So very quickly, because we have this public venue tonight, two quick announcements. First one is about the impending vaccination sites expansion here in the city of Oxnard. We are very grateful to the leadership of Ventura County. They are working hard to expand vaccination sites in Oxnard. And the week of February 14th, I believe, is when they expect to open a large center in the former Babies R Us location. So we expect that to open the week of February 14th. And they are also working to expand a few more sites for us and hopefully adding sites in South Oxnard. So we want to thank our partners at Ventura County for all of their efforts to get more vaccinations into the city of Oxnard, as well as the rest of the county, of course. Secondly is about this weekend Super Bowl. I know there's been a lot of discussion. Various counties are having different measures, and our county public health officials announced that their guidance is for people not to gather, obviously, but also that spaces such as bars and restaurants not show the Super Bowl on their TVs, which would, of course, encourage people to gather. And the recommendation, as it's been all along, is to view the game at home with your household. And so we, of course, recommend that. We've been through the various holiday COVID spikes, following holiday gatherings. So we really want to encourage people, watch the Super Bowl at home, please. And if you're in one of the public venues, restaurants or bars, obviously they still have to follow their capacity rules, right? They can't be 100% occupied indoors, but please restrain from celebrating and partying in a mixed gathering situation. I certainly plan on watching the game at home, especially since I cannot find any Tom Brady fans in this town. So those are the quick COVID announcements. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Our next item is public comments. I'd like to read this. After the candidate's presentation today, as listed on D1 of the agenda, the legislative body will consider public comments on this item. A person may address a legislative body only on the matters of the agenda. Speakers' requests shall be submitted prior to the meeting, which a lot of speakers have done so far, and you'll have 3 minutes at the time to speak. To the speakers, you got 3 minutes, and if you don't have to use all the 3 minutes. But again, the presentations from the public will be shared after the public presentations from the applicants. And I'll turn this over to the city attorney. And this would be item D1.
Thank you, Mayor. So the purpose of this special meeting tonight is to interview the applicants who have filed to fill the vacancy for District 2 Council office, and take public comment for people who have registered to do so. Then the council will hopefully reach a decision to appoint one of those applicants to fill the vacancy in the Council 2 District seat, District 2 Council seat, until the date of a special election that's going to be held on November 2nd of this year. And the winner of that election in November will then fill the remainder of the District 2 term of office. So after the appointment is made, then the council will be asked to adopt 3 resolutions regarding that special election. So the order of business tonight is to first have the city clerk randomly draw for the order of the applicant presentations. And then once that order is determined, each applicant will have 10 minutes, up to 10 minutes to present to the city council. Then public comments will be received. And following public comments, council members will have an opportunity to identify their top 2 applicants and conduct a question and answer period. And following that question and answer period, the mayor will open the floor for nominations. Each council member gets 1 nomination. And then we'll get into the voting to determine if an applicant a majority of the council members can decide on an applicant to fill the vacancy. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Then now at the city clerk will now give us a random selection of the speakers, and we have a little selection process that has the numbers, and each number has the name of the applicant, and consequently, excuse me, and consequently, you'll be as they name your. As we pick your name, you'll be the first speaker, and all the way through to 12 speakers. Thank you.
Our first speaker tonight is number 5, and that is Lizanne Nanez. Ms. Lizanne, I'm going to go ahead and are you ready to speak? You can unmute by pressing *6.
Yes. I'm ready.
Wonderful. Now you have 10 minutes to address City Council. You can begin when you're ready. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Hello, City Council. It's nice to see you all tonight, and thank you for your time. Just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself and why I would like to be on the City Council. I was born and raised here in Oxnard. I've lived here all my life for 60 years. I've lived in various districts, 4, 5, 6. Bought my first home in 1, and then in District 2, where I've lived for the last 34 years. I have a good overview of the city, and I think I know from end to end how it works. And I would really think that I could bring a good perspective to the council. I would also like to believe that I can complement the council because I'm coming from the private sector, which I believe the current council is all from the public sector. So coming from the private sector, I can bring in a different perspective and give different ideas. My strong steward leadership in master planning controls and cost would be another reason why I would be a good candidate for the council. My work process improvement pillar leader role at Procter & Gamble is equivalent to what is known as the Six Sigma Master Belt, where I've shaped strategies, developed key measures and metrics. I've cut cost and non-value work out of current processes, bringing them to ideal situations. So if we're going to cut back a lot in a lot of the services in the city to save money or to meet Measure E goals. I believe I can help a lot in that because I'm a master at that. My work ethics are very strong. Doing the right thing is an important value and principle to me. It ensures you're always in audit ready status, which is what we want because we don't want to have to waste any time pulling up records and trying to correct anything. You should always be in audit ready status, and we should always be ready to be transparent. I've worked at Procter & Gamble for 42 years. I started there when I was 18, and I just recently retired after 42 years. I started on the manufacturing floor, so I know what it's like to work hard, be consistent, and move my way through the system. I retired at the highest level that I could with the most leadership that I could as a technician. After 10 years of being on the floor where I was a leader, I went to finance for 26 years, and then I went to HR. While I was in HR, I owned external relations. So I had the opportunity to host politicians such as yourselves, John Zaragoza, Tim Flynn, Greg Nyhoff, Jeff Gorel, Julia Brownlee, and Jackie Irwin. And it was also a great opportunity for me to be able to work with organizations such as United Way, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Casa Pacifica, Boys and Girls Club, OPD, OFD, and also the Oxnard Chamber of Commerce. So I'm well-versed in community service, and it was probably one of my favorite parts. I've even gone to Washington, DC to lobby for manufacturing taxes to be low. So I think I have a good leadership in that. One of my other leadership roles was the vision team on the site. So it was to define where we are today, where do we want to be in 3 years, where do we want to be in 10 years, and set milestones. This is something that I can contribute to the city of Oxnard as well. And then I just wanted to let you know that I feel that what I can bring to the city council is a fresh set of eyes from, again, what I say, the private sector. And I'm now retired, so I have a lot of time to put towards that. And if something's in my hands, you can guarantee it's going to get done all the way to the end. Public safety is a major priority, I believe, for the city, and it comes in all forms. It comes in the OPD, OFD, streets and sidewalks, parks, point of interest areas, and the homeless. And I believe if we can make City of Oxnard a better place to come, to visit, to make it safe so we can have a lot of foot traffic versus motor vehicles traffic, and make it a fun place to visit, we can bring up our revenue here at the city. And I'd like to be a big part of that. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Lisanne. Then we're going to pick our next speaker.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Mhm.
Mhm.
Our next speaker is number 9, Mr. Christopher Tacone.
Mhm.
Hi, I am present. I am currently coming down the grade right now. I was stuck behind that bad accident. I can speak now, or I can try again in a little bit. It's up to you.
Are you safe enough to speak, Mr. Acone? Or if not, we can, if you feel comfortable and you're safe, driving,
I mean, yes, I have a car mount for my phone, so I can start if you'd like.
Okay, go ahead then. You got 10 minutes.
Okay, so you have 10 minutes.
Mhm.
You can begin when you're ready. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all tonight for the consideration for me for City Council. I'm just going to get straight to it. My goals for the city, we got to progress forward into the future. I do want to bring some more, let's say, benches to our downtown area. I want to see if we can present free Wi-Fi in our downtown. Sorry, this is actually kind of hard. Can I continue this? This is actually kind of hard.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and hang up. Be safe, and we'll call you later.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Mhm. Okay, our next speaker is going to be randomly picked, and
Our next speaker is number 11, Mr. Ricardo Torres.
Ricardo, you got 10 minutes.
Mr. Torres, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us tonight. You have 10 minutes and you may start when you're ready.
Good afternoon, good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. I do want to say a few words in Spanish, if I may. Buenas tardes al consejo, a nuestro alcalde y al público que hoy nos acompaña y nos escucha. Desafortunadamente solamente tenemos 10 minutos, así que no tengo la oportunidad de compartir todo lo que quiero compartir en español también. So, who am I? I know my name is new to some of you. I consider myself a product of Oxnard. I lived in Rose Park, grew up in public housing out in the Fashion Park apartment complex, went to local schools, graduated from Wanimi High School. I went to California Lutheran University where I got a degree in criminal justice and Spanish. I also did a semester in Mexico. I did a study abroad in La Universidad de Guanajuato. And I will graduate this May with my master's in public administration with an emphasis in leadership at the California State University of San Bernardino. So I started my job career here in Oxnard when I was 12. I started working at the Oxnard Swami. That was my first job. I was helping one of the vendors. And ever since then, I've held multiple jobs. I picked strawberries. I've worked at our local avocado packing houses. I packed a calamari on 3rd Street. I've washed cars. I've been a tutor. I've been a teacher assistant. You name it, I've done it. For the better part of the last 10 years, I've been a affordable housing professional in the public sector. And that's really where a lot of my experience come from. So my role at the 2 housing authorities that I have worked for is under community services. So my job is to serve as a liaison between the agency, the government agency, and our residents or the public. So I've been involved in implementing federal grants, state grants, local grants through pilot monies. I have implemented anti-bullying programs, scholarship programs, community gardens, micro-business initiatives for low-income families. I have implemented fall prevention programs for older population. I'm very familiar with fiscal budgets, with the CAFR, with annual budgets, with auditing and reporting. And one of my biggest strengths that I think is a key to my success is my ability to form partnerships. I've been instrumental in forming multiple partnerships throughout the county with several nonprofits, NGOs, and public agencies to better serve the needs of the people that we serve at a housing authority. So I have experience in strategic planning, 5-year planning, and I am currently responsible for submitting the annual plan for our government agency. The annual plan is basically the checks and balances that we have to submit to Department of HUD to let HUD know what we're doing and how we're fulfilling our 5-year commitments. So one thing that is really important about me and I think makes me a great candidate for this position is I'm a really good liaison. And I think as a council member, that's really important. I'm an effective leader. I'm an empathetic listener. I'm a team player. I'm a neutral candidate, so I don't have a hidden political agenda, but I do understand political feasibility. I believe I will govern with heart and passion, but I'm realistic with the expectations. I am invested in our present, our future, and the future of our next generation. As a father of 2, I want my children to be able to live in the city, and I want their future children to be able to succeed the way I have been able to. I am the new wave of Oxnardians who are raising their family here, but I'm also rooted to the foundation of our agriculture roots. And I truly believe that I am Oxnard and Oxnard is me. So what do I believe? I know it's really important. I believe in public safety. Obviously, with my criminal justice degree, I understand community policing, and I know the importance of it. So I believe that public safety, not only policing but also fire, should grow as the development of the city grows. I believe in protecting our aging population. We're seeing a new wave of baby boomers or of residents in the city of Oxnard that are retiring, and we need to make sure that we're providing them with the services and our streets and our parks are suited to their needs. I believe in updating our infrastructure, and I consider affordable housing, economic development, education, addressing the digital divide, and addressing sustainable communities part of our infrastructure. All these things are relevant for the success and the future of our agency, of the city. I believe in the quality of life, and I believe in protecting the health. Obviously, we're going through a very difficult pandemic, and I believe that our children, who most of us know, in our city, we have a lot of families that live within one same household. And we know that distance learning has been very difficult for some of our most vulnerable families. So I really believe that the impact that this pandemic is going to have on our children and is having in our children is a huge health crisis. And also believe the lack of affordable housing is also a health crisis. I believe in fiduciary responsibility. As a council member, we're not expected to be subject matter experts on the ins and outs of the city, but we are responsible for being transparent, accountable, and asking the right questions and the hard questions. And I believe in collaboration. I believe that as council members, we need to collaborate and partner with our city manager, with our staff, and with our public to ensure that we identify the needs of our constituents and that we're addressing their needs with our developments and with our programming. So I wanted to touch very briefly on some of the hot topics that I identify with in Oxnard, because I know some of our constituents want to hear some of our stands. So I know Measure E is a hot topic. I understand as a politician the impact that Measure E is going to have in our city, and we heard some news on Tuesday about the great things that it's going to be able to do. And I really believe that Measure E is the beginning of the legacy of this council that hopefully I'm a part of. We know that Oxnard has gone through a difficult time with the support that we receive from our voters with Measure E. We're committing to them that the new image of Oxnard is coming, and this is the beginning of the legacy of our council. I know there's controversy with Measure M and Measure N, and I know the difficulty for staff to prepare for the meetings. I understand the impact that Measure N can have on our Measure O monies. But to me, the way I see this, I see it from an analytical perspective. What did our voters tell us? Our voters told us with Measure E that they trust us, they believe in us, but they also told us that they have some questions and they want us to be a little bit more transparent. So that, to me, is a root cause of the problem, and it's something that we need to address. I'm a housing advocate, so I understand that homeless is an issue for a lot of our constituents, and I believe in the success of the Navigation Center. I am firsthand, I am a living proof that affordable housing, that supportive housing works because I overcame it. So I believe in the impact that the Navigation Center can have in our city, but also understand that that's only part of the solution. There's still a lot of work to do, especially as we see a new wave of young adults are being impacted by homelessness. And something that's really important that I know the city hasn't been able to address because the loss of redevelopment monies several years ago is economic development. That is now that we have Measure E, it is a big priority, and it's something that I believe should be on our 5-year plan. So really quickly, because I know I'm running out of time. So what are some of the District 2 priorities? Districts are new to all of us. Oxnard went to districts not too long ago. So one of the biggest priorities for District 2 is the integration of the communities. We have 2 of the newest developments with Wagon Wheel and River Park, and we also have some of the most respected communities in Oxnard. So we need to find a way to bridge the gap and understand the impact that districts can have in our city. I believe in downtown revitalization. I know District 2 covers a little bit of the downtown area. Downtown is really the heart of Oxnard, and we need to make sure that we make it a priority, especially in our 5-year plan. I believe in maintaining our parks, our streets, our sidewalks, public safety. The 5-year plan is a big priority for our district just because Wagon Wheel is going to be part of that process, and Wagon Wheel will be more or less completed around that time. So it's really important that we find a way to integrate the new developments into our current communities, and I believe in civic engagement. District 2 has some of the most active advocates within our city, but so we have a large population of people that are not involved. So it's really important that we make an effort to ensure that there's civic engagement in our. So lastly, why me? I know I'm a new name to some of the advocates and within our city. I know I haven't been a green politician, but you cannot take away from my experience in the public sector and the affordable housing to measure my effectiveness
You
and my
have 1
efficiency.
minute, Mark.
The main issues that the city is going to face within the next 11 months, that disappointment is going to take place, I consider myself an expert in. So I can be that balance for the city council. I am that representation that the city hasn't had in a really long time. I represent the new wave of young leaders in our city, and also represent the first generation of American American youth whose parents came to this country and sacrificed their entire life to put food on the table of not only the residents of Oxnard, but the resident people throughout the world. So why me? I really believe I am Oxnard. Oxnard is a reflection of me. And I want to end with this quote by one of my great heroes, Mr. Cesar Chavez. You must become a servant of the people. When you do, you can demand their commitment in return. Today, you're going to make the most important decision of your political careers because it's going to have a drastic impact on the life of myself and our
Your
future.
time is up.
Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you, Ricardo. We're going to pick our next speaker. Mhm. Okay. Number 2 is Justin. Number 2.
Our next speaker is going to be Mr. Justin Bernick.
Justin.
Are you on the line, Mr. Bernick?
Is he? Okay.
Thank you. Promote panelists. Okay. Thank you.
Justin needs to unmute.
Mr. Bernick, please unmute by pressing *6. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you
Oh,
for joining us tonight.
fantastic.
Excellent. You have 10 minutes, sir. You may begin when you're ready.
Well, can you guys see me too?
We can't see you. We can only hear you.
Oh, I really wanted you to see my suit.
Do you have a camera, sir?
Your Sunday suit.
You know, I do, but it doesn't seem to be working right now, and I apologize for that technical difficulty.
No problem. You begin when you're ready, please. Hello? Did we lose him?
He's not going to continue, or
I don't see him. Let's see. He may have accidentally hung up. Oh, no.
We might have lost him for a moment. Let's see if he can sign back in. We'll give it another 30 seconds.
that's right. Mhm.
Mm. Alfred Velasquez?
No, 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 no. Okay. Right there. Second to the bottom. Yeah.
There he is.
Okay, we have him back. We're going to get him started. Justin, can you begin? You have to unmute first.
Sir, please unmute by pressing *6.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I am so sorry. Let's start again.
You got 10 minutes, Justin.
Okay, go ahead and begin.
Thank you, Mayor Zaragoza, Mayor Pro Tem McDonald, honorable members of City Council. Thank you for putting up with my technical difficulties. My name is Justin Baranich, and I've been a resident of Carriage Square since 2006. I grew up in a suburb of Chicago, and I moved out to California to go to college and get a degree. And I graduated with a degree in natural resources planning and interpretation from Humboldt State University in 2002. I have a beautiful wife and a lovely daughter who will turn 2 in April, and that makes me a very proud dad. I write music in my free time. I enjoyed volunteering and teaching children at Our Lady of Guadalupe Church and school over in Colonia, and at a local conservatory of music. At home, I contribute to the monarch butterfly population by providing plants and habitat on my property in an effort to change their decline. And I'm a designated monarch way station. I'm bilingual in Spanish and English, and I'm always looking for opportunities to practice. My first job out of college was working for the city of Oxnard as a city planner. And some of you may know me. For almost 6 years, I processed permit applications and I wrote staff reports and I presented them to Planning Commission and City Council. This gave me firsthand experience of what internal politics and processes within a city government were like, and an understanding of the structure and the roles involved in making decisions. Working during that time for the city was really rewarding, and it gave me a profound sense of gratitude and perspective. I thought, what better way I can help the community and in a greater way. I formed a company called Just in Time Permits, and yes, that's my name. And it's a permit expediting company where I actually continue to work with government officials, contractors, and design professionals, property owners to process their permits, but in the private sector. Due to the nature of this business, and much like working inside the city, I got to meet somebody new every day and get to know them and help them find solutions to their problems. I believe Oxnard is a great city and has a very bright future. And I know we have some challenges, and some are existing and some are coming just around the corner. Come October, our housing element for our general plan is due. And some of you may or may not know that it calls for Oxnard to accommodate over 8,000 new residential units. This is a state mandate that will require us to rezone many properties to a density of about 30 units per acre, which amounts to a 3 to 4 story tall building. So imagine something similar to the residential units at Wagon Wheel, but throughout the city. The state expects these units to be permitted by right without any mechanism by the city for refusal. Last year, when I read about citizens volunteering to clean our streets and parkways, that really lifted my spirits. And I'm sure many of you know what I'm talking about. But this shouldn't be the job of our citizens to keep our parks and streets cleaned. There is Oxnard Sports Park, which has been 15 years in the making, and the plans for College Park are also still unfinished. I remember something called the ITS, the Intelligent Traffic System, that was supposed to, among other things, reduce the amount of traffic and congestion through the city. But that's not being fully utilized either. I applied for this position because I care about the city. I invested here. I'm a homeowner here. And I think that we can overcome these challenges and find solutions together. I believe my experience in the public and private sectors gives me the perspective to understand and fulfill people's needs, as well as the city's. My goal is to contribute to our local government, which prides itself on transparency and honesty, something that many of you believe in also. A government that can be easily accessible and understood by the members of the community, and one that will nurture and support all of its residents. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Justin. We're going to pick our next speaker.
Number 10. Great.
Next speaker is
Next speaker is Gabriel Turan. Gabriel, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us tonight. You have 10 minutes to speak, and you may begin when you're ready.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members, city staff, and members of the public. My name is Gabriel Turan, and I'm a nearly lifelong resident of the city of Oxnard. And I'm here tonight to introduce myself for those who have not met me or don't know who I am, and tell you a little bit about myself and why I feel that I am highly qualified, if not the most qualified at this time, to fill the seat for District 2. So first, I'm going to tell you about my personal history, then my professional history, then my community engagement within the city of Oxnard, and then my priorities. So first, for my personal history, my family's been in the Oxnard area for just over 100 years. And we came here, I should say when my ancestors came here several generations ago, they worked like many families in this area in agriculture. Then my grandfather was able to start a small business where he worked for 40 years. And he, many of the streets around here, parking lots and other structures where there's asphalt, he probably hauled that and helped deliver it. My family's progression has gone over the generations where everybody does just a little bit more and goes a little bit farther because of the hard work that the previous generation put in. And me standing before you here tonight is a perfect example of that. I'm a product of the Oxnard School District, and I attend the Oxnard Union High School District. I've been married nearly 15 years. I have 2 daughters, both of them in the Oxnard School District. They are also both products of the Oxnard Tiny Tots program and the Pre-K Experience program with Teacher Eloise, Teacher Sally, and Teacher Laura. So shout out to them. For my professional history, for academics, I attended Oxnard College. I will say quickly that after high school, I was one of these young people who had no idea what I wanted to do. And my mom told me, just go to Oxnard College, take a few classes, see if something clicks. When I attended Oxnard College, I started the Addicted Disorder Studies program, and that was it. I knew this is what I wanted to do. It just clicked with me. So I earned 2 California addictions credentials, which I hold to this day. I have an associate's in addicted disorders, and I started my career working with young people of Ventura County who were struggling with alcohol and other drug use. I also earned a bachelor's degree in information technology and a master's degree in management and leadership. For my professional history for my career, I've spent the last 17 years of my career working with Ventura County youth and communities. The first 7 years of my career, I spent in adolescent addictions treatment, as I had mentioned, and the last 12 years I've been spent in education. I know that math doesn't add up. It's because for 2 years, I did both jobs in the middle. So I work now to work toward positive health and wellness promotion within our education system in Ventura County. I oversee directly a $300,000 annual budget that supports 4 staff within our department. And I have to monitor that budget throughout the year, propose it for the coming year, and close it out each year as well. But my department, a small team of about 8 people, is also responsible for bringing in over $10 million in competitive grant awards for our local school districts. These competitive grants for prevention education in our schools would not be available if not for the dedication of our team and our educators who work toward these goals of preventing alcohol and other drug use and other negative behaviors by young people. I'm also elected as the Southern California Regional Rep for a statewide FNL Youth Development Program, which I oversee for the Southern California counties. I'm a liaison between them and the state. I'm also a trainer. I've trained many audiences. I do presentations, I do curriculum training. I've trained students, community members, educators, administrators, community-based organizations, municipal staff, county staff, state officials, and elected officials. In fact, this very body, I was very fortunate to be able to provide a training to you all back in December of 2019 on the physical effects on adolescents of vaping. So now for my community engagement. I am the current chair of the Fremont South Neighborhood Council. I started with the Neighborhood Council and was elected member at large back in 2013. And I was voted chair in 2018 after our Neighborhood Council had been dormant for nearly 4 years. The first neighborhood cleanup that we held when I became chair was the first one we had in almost 5 years. And one of the accomplishments that I think I'm very proud of, that I really am admirable to my fellow residents about, is the Navigation Center on K Street. That Navigation Center, previously an overnight warming shelter, had been there for the last 20 years off and on in our neighborhood. And now it's been the last 2 years, but we have worked towards consensus and solutions-oriented discussions with the city to ensure that it's well run and that they're good neighbors and we're good neighbors. And we have a great working relationship with the shelter now. My neighborhood was also the first to hold a community Zoom meeting when everything shut down last spring. And we held a community Zoom meeting that was open to the entire public around the coronavirus and what the city of Oxnard was doing for that. I've also been on the Inter-Neighborhood Council organization since 2018 when I first was elected chair for my neighborhood council. I was on the executive board that first year I joined, and I was the 4th vice chair. And then the second year I was the 1st vice chair. I helped with developing community surveys on quality of life priorities, on cannabis, and in the 1920 fiscal year budget. We also helped coordinate district meetings for districts 2, 4, 5, and 6. And then in February and September of this year, I helped coordinate supervisor candidates forum for February, an in-person one we held at council chambers for those who are running for county supervisor. And then I recruited a team of community volunteers to coordinate some of the forums that you may have seen just this past fall prior to the election for the mayoral, supervisorial, city council, treasurer, clerk, and ballot measures. In addition to that, my Parks and Recreation and Community Services Commission appointment was in 2017 and again 2019. I've been big about resident inclusion and engagement. One of my biggest things with the city when I joined the Parks and Rec Commission was communication between the city and the residents, and what I viewed as a lack of communication. And I really pushed to have that, but also to include our residents in what's going on. As part of the effort to bring new native trees to South Oxnard parks in South Winds and Cypress, and we worked very hard to get 1,000 trees planted throughout the city. We also brought in $1.3 million, we helped determine where $1.3 million in housing and community development grant money should go. Instead of spreading it out throughout the parks, throughout the city, we advocated as a commission that it should be targeted to the parks that have been most neglected or need it most, which is why today Durley Park has a $500,000 new playground, and they're applying for another grant to improve the park even further. Keep in mind that we also helped to get the $8.5 million grant for Campus Park. Our city was one of only 62 awardees for that grant out of 478 applicants statewide. Lastly, about communication, I realized I wanted to have my fellow residents understand what was going on in our city. And I started videos on social media. And I'm so happy that people have engaged with that and been able to learn from the city or learn what's going on in the city because of it. I think that moving forward, we can continue to leverage social media in even more effective ways to engage many of our residents who use that platform to get their news. So in closing, in my last 2 minutes I have here, I'd like to talk about my priority areas if I'm appointed to District 2 City Council seat. First is going to be restoration of city services. As was mentioned by other speakers, seeing our landscaping and our medians has absolutely been disheartening to many of our residents. I understand why it had to happen. I understand the finances behind it, but now we have an opportunity to restore that and bring our city to the beautiful state that it has been in the past and that it can be again. We also have to restore services to meet our infrastructure needs. And as Mr. Torres had said, all of those things he stated as infrastructure, I absolutely agree with as well. Another big priority for me is investment in our youth. My career has been spent with youth, many youth from underserved populations who are at risk or at promise of many, many things coming their way. Investing in our youth now will save us many social issues and financial issues later on down the line. If we are able to keep young people
1 minute
who are
left.
getting into negative behaviors to begin with, then later on, we will have less of a need to address those negative behaviors later on. Finally, my third priority is on the housing stock and homelessness. And to me, I know that there are two issues, but I see them as very intertwined. Our housing stock absolutely needs to be addressed. We can look at many policy strategies and collaborations and partnerships with the county and how we can improve and increase our housing stock. And through that, we can address a large portion of our population who experience homelessness because there is not enough housing for them or they cannot afford housing. And so I see those as big things. The social part of homelessness, where it comes in with alcohol and other drug use and with mental health issues, I absolutely have experience in that as well. In conclusion, I hope that you will take this information and make a choice for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Teran. Our next speaker, I understand that Chris Tacone is back from the traffic jam. Chris, are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Chris, you got 10 minutes.
All right, thank you. And sorry about all that. Didn't mean to get caught in traffic like that. Do a quick recap. I was not born here. I was born in San Fernando Valley. Grew up there, Canoga Park, and grew up abusive childhood. I was homeless at 16. I went through the criminal system and I turned my life around. And now I want to use my background and give that unique perspective and try to help Oxnard through our issues, especially like the homeless issues that we have. That's going to be one of the #1 priorities, because when it comes down to it, homeless crime, it's also a housing issue. One thing I do have against, though, is being second. I will be talking to the neighbors and the businesses in that area to get an idea of what's going on. There's a few other things. The Halico eviction, I will be going there too to talk with people to see what's going on and how they feel about that. I also feel that our local businesses need a lot of help. They're the lifeblood of Oxnard. It's not the big businesses. It's not Amazon. Sorry, I ran up here. And I just want to try my best for Oxnard. I don't have a lot of community experience, and that is my late coming to, I guess you can say. I've only been interested in politics for the last couple years. I've done a couple toy drives with the local car clubs. I've done the car show with OPD. I believe that was now 2 years ago. But I just want to try to bring my particular unique approach to Oxnard. I don't want to take up too much time because there's still a lot more people to talk. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. We're going to pick another speaker. One more applicant there. Let me see. Okay.
Mr. Orlando Dozier will be our next speaker.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us tonight. You have 10 minutes to address council, and you may begin when you're ready.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank the mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members for giving all of us an opportunity to express our opinion on why we think we can fulfill or fill the vacancy of District 2. I'll give you a summary of what I intend to do or my focus is for District 2, but then I want to cover some areas of projects that I've worked on throughout the city that are not necessarily in District 2, but are, impacted by all the residents of Oxnard. The main reason I'm running for this, or I applied for this appointment, is I want to fulfill, I have a self-commitment of trying to nurture the investments of the residents of my district and the homeowners. And the thing that brought me into serving or providing voluntary work throughout the city for now going on 10 years is when I became a homeowner about 10 years ago, and we bought a home in River Park. I joined my HOA, which I'm still a member of the HOA.
Oh, no,
I'm sorry? Okay. Joined HOA, which I'm still a member of. Then I became a member of my community neighborhood council. Did that for 2 years. And after that, I decided to run twice for city council. Wasn't successful, but learned a lot. I got to share the campaign trail with some of the members that are on the council right now. But that didn't deter me, so I felt that I could still contribute to the city, so I applied for the Community Relations Commission, which I served in. My second year was chair of the Community Relations Commission. During that time, I advocated for and got the collection to let us have our multicultural festival at the collection. And that was one of the more memorable ones that we held. It was really big. And it gave an opportunity not only to introduce the new businesses that were being brought online at the collection, but we also were able to bring in a lot of the hometown businesses from the South Side. They set up tents and tables, and people were introduced to other businesses throughout the city. So I pride myself on that. That was a very successful event. After 2 years on the Community Relations Commission, I applied for the Planning Commission, which I'm currently a member, about to term out. The Planning Commission also went to district sections, and I represent District 2 on the Planning Commission. So here I'll veer off a little into some of the things that don't necessarily apply to District 2. District 2 things that are of interest are we have to make sure that the levy gets done, because if the levy isn't complete, it's going to impact all the homeowners in District 2, could impact our insurance policy. So we definitely want to take care of that. Wagon Wheel is the next big development that's up. We need to make sure that that is delivered as promised. There's going to be some traffic challenges to reroute in the streets to accommodate the additional 1,000+ homes that'll be there. I'm also concerned with, I know of no school that's being built for Wagon Wheel. So Wagon Wheel is going to put a burden on the current schools that are in the area. River Park provided 3 new schools to the city, 13 parks, a fire station, and a sub-police station. So I'm hoping to see if we can get something similar like that out of the Wagon Wheel developers when they bring that online. While on the Planning Commission, some of the things that I worked on that I'm really proud that I had an opportunity to be a part of that and represent the city and the residents were, I worked on the Fisherman Wharfs project. I worked on the Mandalay Bay power plant run by NRG company project. And I've been working on the latest thing is the new homeless shelter that's coming up on 2nd Street. A little bit on the Fisherman Wharfs project. The thing about that was we inherited that project from the county. The county had already cut a deal with a LA developer that didn't meet with the residents of Oxnard. So when the project was presented, it didn't take into account the residents' wishes. It didn't take into account that it would create a bottleneck in traffic. Didn't take into account that they were going to put 400 homes or apartments gated on our Fisherman Wharf, basically turning it into a gated community, provide us 0 affordable housing out of that, and just carve out a small section of beach that would be given to the public. So we fought tooth and nail to have them try to change the plans. They didn't want to do it, so we denied it. The city council upheld our decision. The developer and the county went to the coastal commission and tried to get it overruled, but the coastal commission ruled in our favor. So that's one I was really proud of. The other one was Mandalay Bay Power Plant that's run or it's owned by NRG. It does not, it doesn't work or it's inoperative, but it sits on a big portion of our beach. So we were trying to reclaim our beach, and we offered, the city offered NRG an alternative location to relocate their plant. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to keep it where it was, which made no sense because the new plant that they wanted to replace the old one with has a new operating system, and it doesn't need to be on the coast. So we tried to reclaim our coast. We couldn't come to terms, so we voted that the city council deny. The city council upheld our decision. Once again, the developer went to the coastal commission to get a waiver. They were denied, and the city went out again. So those are two things that projects I worked on that I feel really proud about, representing the wishes of the residents of our city. The last project I want to talk about is the new homeless shelter on 2nd Street. That's a challenge. And it represents one of these projects where it's going to be hard. It's a hard decision, hard choices, and not everyone is going to be happy. But my opinion is I think it's necessary because we've tried to locate it in other neighborhoods, and those neighborhoods protested the location. So it ended up in a location that's owned by the city. The reason why I'm in favor of it is it's more than a homeless shelter. It's a path from the street to the homes for people. So it connects everyone to the necessary support structures to help you get a job, to help you get a skill set, to help you get into a new home. And it's by appointment only, and they will provide policing or there will be someone monitoring to make sure that people won't just hang outside. So the last thing is also it's a win for the city because with a $2 million investment, we get a $25 million.
You have 1
facility.
minute left.
So those are some of the things that I've worked on, and hopefully by discussing them, I kind of let you know that I understand the way that policy work. I'm a part of the legislative process right now, and it would be a very easy transition for me to continue my work on the city council. So once again, I'd like to thank the mayor pro tem, and council members for giving me the opportunity to speak on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Orlando. We're going to pick our next speaker.
Our next speaker will be Veronica Robles Solis. Ms. Solis, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi.
I turned off the camera.
I can't believe I fucking believe that.
Yes. Thank you for joining us tonight. You have 10 minutes to address council, and you may begin when you're ready. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. My name is Veronica Robles Solis, and I'm seeking an appointment for District 2 because I believe in the promise of our beautiful city of Oxnard. I am deeply rooted here. I am raising my family here. I feel a special connection to this land and my community, and most importantly, a sense of duty to advocate for my neighborhood and city. I was born in Ventura and raised in Oxnard. I had the pleasure of attending Oxnard School District schools. I attended Ramona Elementary, Sierra Linda Elementary, and for middle school, my family moved to South Oxnard. I attended Blacksap Junior High, and I graduated from Channel Islands High School. I received an Associates of Arts degree from Oxnard College, and I received a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology from UCLA in 2001, a Master's in Governance through the California School Board Association in 2013. After graduation, I knew I wanted to return to my community and work with youth or senior citizens. As a lifelong resident of the city of Oxnard, I know our city has so much potential and I have the passion for our community. In 2001, I began my career as a social worker for Among Friends Adult Day Healthcare Center in Oxnard. At Among Friends, I would assist low-income senior citizens, individuals with mental health needs, and individuals with disabilities by providing them support, resources, and skills for their lives. As a social worker, I recognize specific barriers and the inequalities that lie within our society. I believe that my academic background and experience as a social worker provide me with an excellent foundation to serve alongside you as a council member for our city. I've been married for 16 years to Alex Elise, and we have 3 beautiful children, Christian 15, Camila 13, and Sasha 6. I can't forget our little 3 furry family members, Max, Luna, and Pugsy. My mom lives in Oxnard and my in-laws and my siblings. So not only do Alex and I have a commitment to Oxnard, but our roots run deep here. My desire to serve as a council member is driven by the commitment to help invest in the promise of our city for all of our community members. I take a personal interest in the success of my children, but I focus on all the children in our community of Oxnard. I am very involved in the community as an AYSO soccer mom, baseball mom, cheer mom, and a proud PTA parent. After 17 years of working, I thank God and my husband that I've been allowed the opportunity to take a couple of years off to be a stay-at-home mom. Life goes by very fast, and sometimes we lose track of the time. We miss out on important milestones in our children's lives, and we're consumed with busy schedules. These last 3 years, I've been more engaged and present in my children's life at school. Throughout these opportunities, I constantly get to meet other families in Oxnard, to hear and learn about their lives and struggles and the dreams they have that we all have for our city. These activities keep me grounded in our community. In 2010, I ran for the Oxnard School District Governing Board of Trustees. I ran because I wanted to work for a betterment of all of our students by providing them with the best tools to succeed. I firmly believe that every student is entitled to quality education. I ran for re-election in 2014 and won my seat. In 2018, I ran unopposed and did not have to run my election. My husband was very happy. I am proud of all my accomplishments as elected trustee to the Oxnard School District Board. As a trustee of the largest elementary school district in the county for the last 10 years, I've served as president during a period of focus on academic performance and reconstruction of our aging and deteriorating school buildings. As board president, I spearheaded the development of education and facility goals designed to transform the district into a leading educational program. I chaired Measure R and Measure D bond committees, both resulting in successful passages for general obligation bonds to rebuild our schools, raising dollars to invest in the infrastructure of our schools. We have used this money well. The successful passage of Measure R and D allowed the school district to implement a one-on-one iPad initiative, extend a full-day kindergarten, build an academy-focused district, expand the GATE program, and drive the expansion of the dual language immersion program. Additionally, Measure R and D allowed the district to bring the art and music back into our schools. We built new 21st century schools and rebuilt and improved our aging facilities through the district. I am proud to say that our community supported these 2 bonds and that our district has been able to deliver 4 new reconstruction schools: Harrington School, Elementary School, Lemonwood School, and McKenna are now the pride and joy of our students and community. I'm looking forward to the new Rose Avenue Elementary School in Rose Park. Our students, teachers, staff, and community deserve to have 21st century schools in the city of Oxnard. I am proud to have had a leadership role in coming through our commitment to the voters and to our community. At the policy making level, I have experience in leading the Board of Education as board president, from 2011 to 2012, 2014 through 2015, 2015 through 2016, and 2018 through 2019. I'm currently the president of Ventura County School Board Association, where trustees across the county elected me to serve. These experiences have prepared me to serve as city council, hopefully in the future. I have worked through challenging issues like the one the city will face to make difficult budget decisions where there are multiple priorities and services we need to fund. Balancing community and stakeholder interest and input while making tough decisions is in transparency. I know how the feeling is, and I know we need to keep us accountable. I've had to make hard decisions while finding how to collaborate with my elected colleagues, and I have experienced many hiring, supporting, and holding our administrative staff accountable. With my experience and demonstrated record of putting my service to community first, I am ready to hit the ground running. My vision for our residents to believe is in our city again. Oxnard is a charm, and we need to continue with prior plans that have been promised to our residents to regain trust. We should continue to build off our current council's work, and we need to support the backbone of our city, the small businesses. We need to revitalize downtown Oxnard. With the pandemic, I don't know if you guys have noticed, we have more bike riders around our neighborhoods. We need to make sure that our city is a bicycle and pedestrian friendly city. I believe public safety is essential. We need to prioritize public safety, and we need to bring back community-based policy. Public safety within our neighborhoods is fundamental to economic development in our community. I believe we have a great responsibility to ensure that our police and fire departments have the resources they need to fulfill their civic mandate to keep us safe effectively. Homeless and mental illness in Oxnard is a crisis level. I have worked with many individuals with mental health illness. While the housing is still an option, there are many homeless individuals that have several mental illness or substance abuse. We need to look deep into families that have been displaced due to COVID or families that are homeless and living in vans. Every situation is different and unique. I know the city has a plan. However, I believe the plan will be successful if we all work together. The city cannot work alone, and we need the county's support. Parks and youth development. As a school board trustee, I understand the importance of critical investment in our youth. I would advocate for strong partnership between the city, school district, and our local nonprofit to make sure that we meet our youth's needs. Tonight, you are going to hear from other committed community members who want to serve our city, but I want to bring you my candidacy that is very unique. As a social worker, I have worked with most of underserved members of our community, and I know the work and challenge that
You
lie
have
ahead
1
is
minute left.
fulfilling the promise of the great city. As an elected member of the Oxnard School District, I have gained valuable experience that makes me particularly ready to contribute as a city council member. I have demonstrated record and commitment to our city, also building bridges, delivering on commitments made, and serving with a faithful heart from the minute I take oath. I believe my work is not done. I believe in the promise of our city. I see our city as vibrant, inclusive, safe, thriving community where we know we are addressing challenges as we build bright future for our children and generations to come. I humbly request your support for my candidacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. We're going to pick the other speaker.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Our next speaker is going to be Mr. Enrique Petriz. Mr. Petriz, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us tonight. You have 10 minutes to address council, and you may begin when you're ready.
Hello, the distinguished council members. I would like to talk to you about a little bit about my past. I am a lifelong Oxnard resident. I have been here most of my life. I attended all my elementary schools here. I graduated from Fremont Junior High School. I also graduated from Channel Islands High School. From there, I attended Ventura College, where I got my Associate of Arts degree in General Education. In 1979, I transferred to UC, University of California at Santa Barbara, where I received my bachelor's degree in political science. From there, I decided that I wanted to gain more knowledge about public policy and budgeting. So I decided to enroll in the Cal State University at Los Angeles in the Masters of Science in Public Administration. I received my master's degree with an emphasis in budget and finance and public policy. My experience at Cal State LA as a student, I became a research fellow at the California State University of Los Angeles. In that capacity, I worked very closely with professors, and we did a lot of research in the various municipalities around Los Angeles County. We did research and studied various municipality issues, such as budget and financing, personnel administration, public safety, and the methods whereby you set up fees for various municipal services, like a trash and water, sewer, and all those things. Part of that research, I was also involved in formulating and advising our research, sharing our research with various municipalities in the areas of affordable housing and economic development. We were in high demand, as you can see. All the various municipalities in Los Angeles County, we were working with them. They were sending us issues that they wanted us to discuss, to do research for them. We worked very closely with various cities, and I got to learn the hard part of being a decision maker, what a council member has to go through when he has conflicting issues with different costs of each policy and different interest groups who are fighting for a limited supply of funds. I learned the pressures. I learned how to balance public safety, for example, and affordable housing with the overall cost. Also, I also gained experience. I also served for the Department of Defense. I worked over 30 years for the Department of Defense here in Port Hueneme at the Naval Base. I served in various positions. My first position was as an administrative officer, where I had to manage and monitor various issues relating to facilities management, facilities management, budgeting, and personnel issues that I was in charge of working for part of the naval base. And I also serve as a program analyst, where I had to work with budgets, anticipating revenue from the federal government. I had to monitor very closely the expenditure for each of the naval budgets, for Harpoon missiles, for the Tomahawk missiles. So I had to be well-rounded in being able to make presentations to Department of Defense personnel in Washington and in Port Hueneme, to the military people in terms of cost, where we're at in terms of expenditures, how much money we need to get the missiles, keep them moving to the warfighter in the Middle East. I also serve as an industrial specialist, where I learned a lot about supply, being able to to research what items our warfighters needed, being able to go out into the community and throughout the United States, especially in California, and work with contractors who are able to provide needed services and supplies that the Department of Defense, the Department of the Navy, and other various branches like the Marines, the Air Force. So I had a big responsibility in being able to pick the lowest cost supplier of those services. And I had to make sure that we got them to the warfighter on time, on schedule, and at the cost that we needed, because we were working under budget restraint. And that's what I know that policymakers in every capacity, city council, they have to weigh the cost of each decision. Each decision that is presented to the city council has cost. And you have to be real careful. You have to treat those monies as if they were your own. Lastly, to round off my experience, I served as an administrative intern for Assemblyman Chuck Imbrek in the 1980s. He was a Republican assemblyman in Ventura. In my intern capacity, I assisted our constituents, our district constituents that had businesses with the state of California. I was able to listen. Ask questions, try to get as much as information from the client when they wanted help, wanted the assemblyman to assist them with any state issues. I also had to formulate service assistant programs for the assembly member in order to serve our constituents better. So I learned the value of listening patiently, asking questions, gathering information, and presenting it to Assemblyman Chuck Imbrek so that we can better serve our customers. I also serve in that capacity. I also gain a lot of knowledge about state finances, state revenues, expenditures, taxation, and that really brought to me the enormity of the responsibility that a decision maker at any level has to contend with. The reason I'm running is because I feel that the city, this is not a complaint, but I feel like the city it has been a little bit reactive in its approach to governing the city. And that is why we have so many weaknesses in the chain link, in the decision making. What I would like to see is a more proactive city. By more proactive city, I mean that we need to work closely as a team to anticipate issues that are coming up, to anticipate needs of the community, in every area that we can think of. By anticipating and by being proactive, I believe that the city can utilize its monies, its resources more effectively and efficiently.
You have 1 minute left.
Rather than waiting for the problems to come over. When that happens, when we are reactive, we don't have enough time to make decisions. We don't have enough time to do research, to budget, and to do things like that. So I will concentrate in the areas of quality of life, make sure that our citizens have everything so they can live in a safe city. Public safety. I really support our fire department, our police, to keep us safe. And one other one is financial accountability. We need to be more guarding of our expenses, of our revenue, better reporting. And lastly, homelessness. I am a big supporter of trying to help the homeless find shelter, and we can do it if we get enough help from the state and the federal government.
Thank you, Enrique. We're going to pick another speaker.
Our next speaker will be Mr. Alfred Velasquez. Mr. Velasquez, if you would please unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so
You-
much. I can't see you. I can see you, but I don't see myself. If that's okay.
We
Okay,
can
I'll
hear you,
begin when
but
you're
you
ready.
are a little low. I'm not sure if you can raise your volume a little bit.
Actually, I got it. I've got it all the way up. Maybe I
Okay.
can, let me try to get a little closer. I'll raise my voice. How's
Oh,
that?
that's better.
Okay, I'll yell. Okay.
Perfect. Okay, so you have 10 minutes to address council, and you
Thank
may
you so
begin
much.
when you're ready. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Saragosa, council members, staff, and viewing audience. My name is Alfred Velasquez Sr. I am a sixth generation Californian American and a lifelong resident of Oxnard. I was raised by my mother, Grace, a single parent, and I come from very humble beginnings. I have been married to my wife, Betty, for over 56 years. We have two children, we have two sons, three sons, and two wonderful daughter-in-laws. Growing up in Oxnard, I sold the local Oxnard Press Courier newspaper for a nickel from the ages of 10 years up to the age of 14 years. A couple of years thereafter, I worked at a service station as a service attendant at Oxnard Self-Serve Gas Station, located at 7th Street and Oxnard Boulevard. A year or so later, I was hired in Thousand Oaks to help build a golf course. I was very instrumental in the installation of the infrastructure, then building and maintaining the Los Robles Greens golf course located on Jans Road in Thousand Oaks. Because of me working at a very young age, selling newspapers and working as a gas station service attendant, I developed a very strong work ethics, which would serve me well in the future. Later on, I joined and became a Teamster Union member from 1969 to 1997. I retired in 1997 from the aggregate and construction industry. During that period with the Teamsters Union, I served in the following capacities. I was voted to be shop steward by the company's employees to represent hundreds of employees in Santa Barbara and Oxnard as their representative in overseeing and enforcing the contractual agreement between the employer and the union. I served on the grievance and arbitration committees. I served on the labor contract negotiation bargaining committees in establishing salaries, pension contributions, health and welfare benefits, vacation pay, paid holidays, paid sick leave, and seniority rights. I also worked with the pension department in establishing retirees' monthly benefits based on their years of service, credits, and bonuses. I was also elected to serve as a trustee for Teamsters Local 186 in Ventura, California in 1994. My duties as a trustee was for me to review the monthly accounts receivable and disbursements of funds and to safeguard the union's local funds. I was also a Teamster delegate for Joint Council 42 in Los Angeles. In addition to being a Teamsters Union member, I owned a business from 1977 to 1990. I operated under a DBA permit with a Public Utilities Commission in California. I oversaw my employees' payroll salaries and state and federal mandates. I made PUC Corey tax payments, State Board of Equalization tax payments, workman's compensation, employees' payments, state required liability insurance payments. And please note, I never operated at a loss. I always worked within my projected budget. Now, my civil involvement includes the following: From 1999 to 2001, I was the first vice chair for the Inner Neighborhood Council Forum, and the duties of the first vice chair are to perform the duties of the chairman in his or her absence, to account for and keep safe any and all funds of the INCF. Today, it is now known as the INCO. I was elected to serve from 1999 to 2015 as the chairman for the Fremont South Neighborhood Council. In 2000, I served in the Citizens Police Advisory Board for our district. Now, I was also appointed by the City Council to serve as a homeless commissioner, and our goal was to address the needs of the homeless men, women, and children through a recommendation focused on their needs to the City Council. I was appointed by the City Council to serve on the oral panel with Ernie Whitaker, Dennis Scala, and Norma Owens in interviewing and evaluating candidates for a new Assistant Housing Director. Mr. Carlos Jimenez was selected and hired for that position. I was appointed by the Ventura County Board of Supervisors to serve on the Airport Authority Mission Statement Advisory Committee to address noise, late arrivals, and early departures issues between residents and the Oxnard Airport. In 2004, I was appointed by the Oxnard Union High School Board of Trustees to serve on the $133 million bond initiative, Measure H, Oversight Committee, to ensure that all the Measure H bonds monies were approved and spent within the confines and mandates of Measure H initiative. Please note that money was supposed to be used for the building of 2 new schools and upgrading existing schools in the Oxnard Union High School District. In 2004, I was also appointed by the Oxnard Union High School Board of Trustees to serve on the Boundary Change Committee for Pacifica High School in redrawing new boundaries and reassigning students to their new school destination. In 2004, again, I was appointed by the Oxnard Union High School Board of Trustees to serve on an oral panel to interview and evaluate architects and contractors to build a new high school in the Oxnard Union High School District, and we did select a contractor. I organized with the other INCF members the STOP, S-T-O-P acronym, Stop the Oxnard Prison Committee. Cornell Corrections illegally established a high-risk prison in downtown Oxnard next to the Santa Clara Elementary School. Our group forced the city of Oxnard to evict the prison from Oxnard by a legal technicality in the purchase agreement and a buyout. The former prison is now the Present Housing Authority building located at 435 South D Street in Oxnard. In closing, I truly hope that whoever you select and appoint as council members will have some knowledge of the following. What is the role and functions of the general fund? What is the enterprise fund and its purpose? What are the enterprise bonds obligations? What are the developer fees, Quimby fees, mitigation fees, traffic fees? What are the developers in lieu fees? And what are the in lieu fees rate fees per unit? What is the status of the city of Oxnard's treasury portfolio? Fund balance. How much of the city treasurer's portfolio funds are restricted, unrestricted, and how much uninvested surplus cash is in the city treasurer's portfolio? Also, how much available cash is available in all the city's 170 bank accounts? And what type of return is the city getting on their investments? They should also have some knowledge and understanding of the city's annual CAFRs, which is the California Annual Financial Report. They should also have some knowledge of the tremendous economic and financial benefit Point Mugu and Port Hueneme base contributes to the city of Oxnard and Ventura County. We are talking about billions of dollars invested in our local businesses annually. Point Mugu and Port Hueneme base need to be protected from any future closure that could happen from BRAC, which is an acronym for Base Realignment and Closure Commission. The next BRAC meeting is in this year, 2021. They should also have a good knowledge of the duties and responsibility of being a council
Sir,
member.
you have 45 seconds left.
Thank you. Also, they should know what the role and duties of each supervisor within the city departments are. Okay, I think that pretty near wraps it up. I have 30 seconds left. I would wish all of you the best of luck in selecting the best man for this position, because it is a tremendous position and responsibility for anyone you have. And whoever you select, I hope they're the best man suited for that. And I hope they're somewhat, if not highly qualified, because we want to make Oxnard better financially, aesthetically, and safely. So thank you so much and good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Velasquez. We're going to pick one more participant.
Number 3. Yes. Our next speaker will be Mr. Pedro Chavez.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. I am so excited to be here with you to share a little bit about myself, my story, and why I'm extremely passionate about creating change, a positive change for our community, for our citizens and our families. These have been unprecedented times. We have been dealing with the devastation caused by COVID-19. We can see light at the end of the tunnel, and things will get better, but we have a lot of work to do. And a lot of work means that all of us together, for working for the greater good of our city, can put our differences aside and do what's best for our residents and for our local economy. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a product of a single mom. My mom came here from Mexico back in 1976. And I've been in this country for a very long time. And I became a citizen in almost 20 years ago. And so I see the opportunity of being a stakeholder, of being a productive citizen, of being involved as something that is some of responsibility, of civic duty and responsibility. You see, I didn't have all the positive role models that other people might have had. I've had to find those mentors. I've had to find those role models that I can look up to, so that I can become a better person and a better man. And so I grew up in the inner city of Los Angeles. I'm a transplant to the city of Oxnard, but Oxnard is my home and Oxnard is my heart. I've seen all the good things that we can do when we work together. We have been seeing positive changes. Again, COVID has put a pause on those changes, but there's optimism and excitement that's going to happen, because there is life after COVID. First and foremost, I want to talk about what we're going to be able to do, because I'm a very action driven and I'm about creating solutions, developing partnerships, and again, bringing people together for the greater good. So I want to talk about the exciting piece of what's going to happen in our future. We all thrive for social connection, right? We've been locked up. We have had to work from home. We had to change the way we work, the way we live. And so there's going to be such excitement when people get vaccinated, when people want to go out, when our restaurants and our businesses are open to their capacities. And it's going to be about increasing the tax revenue that we have, so that we can do other things that we want to do in the community. In particular, we've seen the corridors in District 2 that require a lot of help. A lot of small business owners have been shut down and they're suffering. We have a lot of suffering in our community. And so by focusing and investing in and using funds from our Measure E for economic development is going to be key to getting us out of this economic depression. The downtown Oxnard is the heart of Oxnard. And I believe that we can reimagine its future by fusing together those things that make us and bring forward our identity. First and foremost, we have a long history of agriculture. We have also a long history of people coming here from all walks of life. I have deep immigrant roots, and like many other people, we've all come to this country to become better citizens. And so investing in the downtown Oxnard area is going to be really key and critical. I think we can create a space where we can create social gatherings, where we bring people together by enjoying each other's company through food. We've had in the city broken promises. We've had consultant fees that have been spent over the years talking about what we're going to do with downtown Oxnard. I'm a man of action, and I want to work with you, the fellow city council members, to focus on the heart of the city. Because if we can grow the heart of the city, everything else will follow. District 2 is separated by our freeway. We see a division between the new developments at the Collection and Wagon Wheel to the historical part of Oxnard, going up to 2nd Street, and then Oxnard, the Oxnard corridor, all the way to Ventura. So we have a long, rich history in our community, and we have a lot of talent here. We need to invest in our talent so that our local folks can get jobs in our local economy and be contributing citizens of our society. I want to talk about a little bit about what skills I bring and what makes me a strong candidate for this position. First and foremost, I come from the nonprofit sector. I have over 10 years working in strategic fund development, raising the money and the resources through private, public, and government sources so that we can bring the resources for our nonprofit community in order to create valuable programs and services that change lives. I also have a 12-year history of helping working families access sustainable home ownership. This is very personal to me. I lived in an apartment building for 17 years. My mom struggled in order to make ends meet, but she overcame those obstacles through hard work and determination. I follow those examples today. I'm a proud homeowner. I'm a proud taxpayer. I'm a proud contributing member of society. I've served on nonprofit boards and organizations for causes, from youth development causes to housing causes to special disabilities. And so I care deeply about our community, and it starts by, again, bringing together positive change by bringing together talented people like yourselves. Building wealth for the Latino community in particular happens through housing. When one buys their first home, they're building their wealth and they're changing their trajectory of their lives to provide better opportunities for their children. Home ownership, again, is the keystone and the symbol of the American dream. We need more people to become homeowners. Last year alone, homeowners, due to the COVID effect, you would think that the marketplace would have been something that would have been detrimental. However, more people got into homes last year because of the COVID effect. They want to provide better opportunities for their children. They want that patio, they want the extra room. They have family members that they live with that they care for. And again, home ownership is key. It also, aside from building wealth, it helps in breaking the cycle of poverty. And we have a significant issue in terms of housing inventory, and there's things we can do to make improvements in those areas. Housing, improving lives, being involved in the community, caring, showing passion for service is what I bring to the table. I just opened shop in downtown Oxnard, and I walk along and I talk to business owners and my fellow neighbors about what things we can do together. The voters, 52% overwhelmingly supported Measure E. What does that mean to us and you as elected officials and to the staff of the city? That means that they have faith and trust that things are going to get better by investing in public safety initiatives like our 911 infrastructure, by ensuring that we have economic development and opportunity in our city, ensuring that we have public places and safe places for our youth and for our seniors. My goal is to focus on 3 key areas if I'm appointed to become a member of the City Council: public safety and neighborhood harmony, economic growth and prosperity, and infrastructure and public service. And at the end of the day, this process is about winning the hearts and minds of my fellow citizens, my neighbors, and their families. And so I'm here to ask for your support. I've given you a lot of information. I have a proven track record. Thank you for the time that you've taken to review my track record dating back to 2005 when I arrived here from Washington, D.C. This is a place I call home. And like you, I believe in the future, and I know that it can get better. But we need action-driven people, and we need leadership at the City Council level so that we can work on these initiatives together. I'm looking forward to working with you at each step of the way to make that happen for the greater good of our community. These are not about creating divisions and separations in neighborhoods and within our city. This is about bringing one Oxnard together, because we are one Oxnard. You can live in any neighborhood in our city, but there's no division here because we come from the same place and we want a better future for ourselves and for our community and for our children. And again, I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I congratulate every single one of my fellow citizens who has stepped up, who are making their voices heard, because it's only through that that we can achieve the American dream for all of us to enjoy. Again, thank you for your time. My name is Pedro Chavez, and I want to grow Oxnard together alongside you so that we can build a better future for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chavez. And we have the last speaker is Lawrence Barberine. Lawrence is going to be the last one.
Oh, hello.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes. Hi. Can you
Yes.
hear me?
Thank you for joining us tonight. You will have 10 minutes to address council, and you can begin when you're ready.
Thank you so much. Uh, First of all, Godspeed to my fellow candidates and to our mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Councilman Perillo, Councilman Madrigal. Hope you arrive safely. Councilwoman Basua, Council Member Lopez, who I always like to note represents, among others, my 89-year-old father. So they're special to me because of that, for sure. I want to be a shameless kiss up to start off by saying thank you for not listening to us now, but also for reading all 13 of those applications. I'm sure it wasn't constantly riveting reading. Not even mine, so I appreciate you guys, you council members reading those. I want to thank the city clerk's office for tonight. Love the raffle roll sound that I'm hearing there. I love that. And also the this transition to Zoom that you've been doing. It's not easy, and you guys looking pretty good. So I'm even thinking today it might be a good business to try to recruit if they ever expand their headquarters. Zoom, they've been having a pretty good gig here, since the lockdowns. I want to say a happy Valentine's month to everybody, that great martyr of the faith there, Valentine, and happy our great presidents Reagan, Lincoln, and Washington coming up. Their birthday's coming up this month. And it made me think, with President Reagan's birthday coming up here on the 6th in a couple of days, that his great confidant, Deputy Secretary of State, National Security Advisor, after he was California Supreme Court member, was William Clark, who this year is the anniversary of the 90th year of his birth, and he was born in Oxnard. So especially for you young people, this is what God willing, where you can achieve to get even to help the President of the United States, and coming from born in Oxnard. So yeah, you'd be 90 years old in this October, I believe. I believe that we should, at least for part of our lives, we live for, people choose to live for God, for family, of course, and their priorities. But I think part of those priorities after that should be living for the city, as Stevie Wonder titled his great hit in the 70s. I mean, not all the details that he sang about, of course, or anything near Oxnard's details, but the title reminds us that we should be living for our city's best, not just good enough. Because I want the best for, and I want to help do the best for Oxnard, for District 2 and Sierra Linda neighborhood, where I live. I'm seeking the city council's appointment as District 2 councilman. I'm now 58 years old, and I've lived in District 2 since I was, which is now District 2, since I was a year and a half, and in our fair city since I was 2 months old, just a few years ago. I'm invested here. In D2, in District 2, I went most of K through 6 at Sierra Linda School. It's like our now retired police chief. He went to Sierra Linda. Two of those years, K through 6, I went to Colonia School, so it was a good, diverse mix there. I then graduated Fremont Junior High in D2. My siblings started at Curran School before switching to Sierra Linda, and I played Little League Baseball at Eastwood Park and over at Fremont there, and spent many days in the old Carriage Square for Shakey's Pizza, the theater, and go-karts. I bought my last 2 Hondas at another D2 institution, the Auto Center. My last 2 Hondas bought there, and then attended before lockdown, our church was housed at El Rio West, Rio Vista Middle School. My mother gets lunches at the Wilson Senior Center in D2, and as others, even my burial plot, hopefully a long time from being used, I trust, is in D2's Santa Clara Cemetery. For years going to church and home groups here in Oxnard and elsewhere, I've been blessed to help give to the poor, including now through our Channel Islands Vineyard Christians weekly pantry, which they've been doing for years and before I returned to their church, to our church. And they give at the holidays as well. As a youth, I joined my hometown in shaking Senator Robert F. Kennedy's hand, in my case, as he drove by on Magnolia Street, as he campaigned for president. Years later, after interviewing one of his main local backers, former Oxnard Mayor Jane Tolmack, I wrote a story on my former website, now former website, peopleinpublicplaces.com, about his last days before his assassination. In a bipartisan turn, I was the 1992 Oxnard co-chair of the now late, just passed away, Bruce Hershenson for U.S. Senate. And he ended up outdistancing even the Republican ticket that year in votes. I graduated from Santa Clara High School and Pepperdine University, where I earned a journalism degree with a minor in political science. And since 2017, I've been the main caregiver and helper with financial paperwork and such for my mother as she fights illness. I've taught high school history, government, journalism, economics, etc. Been a journalist, been a coach. Doing supervising of the polling places. For years, I've regularly watched, attended, and spoke at many city council meetings, debates, forums, and neighborhood council meetings. Now, despite some disagreements, we thank now current County Supervisor Carmen Ramirez for her service as D2 representative and Mayor Pro Tem, and she's a grand lady, despite some disagreements on topics here and there. Just a great lady, and I trust will be a great supervisor. We need to hold on to the good in our fair city, but reform wisely what needs to change. May we remind ourselves that the Declaration of Independence says governments, Oxnard's too, are instituted to secure our rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We have to improve our to prevent and fight crime and disasters, use our $55 million budget more carefully, encourage economic growth by keeping fees and regulations reasonable, not restricting, and we don't want them restricting, start and oversee opportunity zones for tax breaks leading to development for our needy areas, solve our big deficits in funding pensions and retiree medical benefits, where we rank 4th out of every 5th city in California. If it were a 5-team league in California, we'd be 4th. And each person in Oxnard owes $1,134 towards that deficit. So we need some pension reform and such. And we need to increase our lobbying to the state and federal government, which I know, like the city manager said, we've had some fruit, but we need to keep our money here and then obtain grants where we can, going with the California League of Cities to urge the state to, this money they're wasting billions of dollars on the bullet train, 11 to 31 billion dollars they've lost with the unemployment waste. We need to have that back in the cities like Oxnard. We don't want to have to ask our people for another tax increase. We need to keep working with the county, and they just came out with an announcement as we work with the county and developers to complete the levees of Santa Clara River and encourage families and private and faith-based charity to honor our seniors, keep our youth healthfully active, help the homeless, addicted, and poor, while doing what we can as local government.
1 minute left.
And it's unsustainable if we have the width and breadth of our money to our employees, which should be well paid. They're public servants, not slaves. But we don't want the width and breadth of them to outdistance what the private citizens can provide, because they're paying for the public citizens, the public servants' salaries. I was able to help out to find things like that pension deficit and a recent money that we weren't sure where it went and ended up going back into the Measure from the fire department. And thank Councilman Perillo and interim chief for helping with that. And we don't want it to be said at the end of the year that we were not living for the city, and we don't want, like another Stevie Wonder song said, we don't want to say we haven't done nothing. So I hope to be part of this, ask for your appointment to help reform the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barberine. Mr. Barberine is the last applicant. I just want to thank all the applicants for sharing your thoughts today, your concerns for a city of Oxnard, and also for sharing your resumes. I read every single one of them, and a lot of qualified individuals and a lot of good people that want to volunteer for our city. I want to thank you so much. With that in mind, we're going to go into public comments, and we have approximately 26 people that like to speak, and there's 3 minutes for each individual. And of course, you don't have to use all your 3 minutes, but of course, you're entitled to use them. So we're going to start with Dr. Natalie Charette, followed by Naomi Valdez. Dr. Natalie Charette, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yes, Mayor, may I please make an announcement to
Okay, I'm sorry.
council?
Go ahead.
For the record, dear council, this is to confirm that Ms. Ty Hartley formally withdrew her application, and Mr. Vincent Stewart was not able to participate tonight in this presentation, but is still a valid applicant. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do we have Dr. one of our first speakers, Natalie Charette, followed by Naomi Valdez? 3 minutes.
Natalie? Ms. Charette? You have 3 minutes
Hi.
to speak. You may begin when you're ready.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
My name is Natalie Chereau. I was born in Oxnard and I live in Ventura now. And I'm just going to quickly say that I'm not jealous of any city council member right now because there are so many like wonderful applicants, and it's a good group, and I'm not jealous of your job and what you have to do tonight. I just want to quickly say that I am supporting Gabe Turan. I've known him for a while through his community work, but it's not my advocacy towards Gabe does not mean that I don't think there are going to be other people who will be wonderful. I just think he's ready to serve. He knows all the issues, and he's just a nice person. And I think the council will appreciate having to spend those long hours with him. So that's all I needed to say. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. Our next speaker is Naomi Valdez, followed by Angel Garcia. Valdez, 3 minutes.
Miss Naomi Valdez?
Hello, good evening. Can I hear me?
Yes, thank you. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Mayor Zaragoza, Pro Tem McDonald, council members. My name is Noemi Valdez, and I live at 1020 Lodgewood Way. And I'm speaking to you in support of Mr. Gabe Teran for the vacant seat in District 2. Gabe is an advocate not only for District 2, but for the city as a whole. He is totally vested in assuring the Oxnard community is informed of local governmental issues and the impacts these issues have on our daily lives and the many options to address these concerns. You heard that many of those on the slate have community involvement, but what I believe that sets Gabe apart is that he spends his own time and effort analyzing and deciphering legislative jargon into unbiased language for all of us to understand. He then really shares that information through videos and town hall type forums where the community comes in contact directly with you, our city council members and officials, and ensuring that our voices are heard. His advocacy is broad, presenting videos on city topics such as business and fiscal, homelessness, policing and public safety, infrastructure, business, economic development, and the ever-confusing ballot measures. With all due respect to all the other candidates, in my opinion, Gabe is the only candidate on this slate who has established a visible and direct relationship within District 2 and outside of District 2 on city matters. Not only recently since the seat became vacant, but for many years now. You heard Gabe talk about his occupation and how it focuses on preventing unsafe behaviors of our youth and providing struggling youth and families with access to safe and healthy alternatives and resources. I truly believe that children are our future, and we need individuals like Gabe on the city's decision-making table with direct knowledge of not only what our families struggle with, but of proven strategies that a community as a whole, as this whole city, can implement to support and bridge, promote healthy, safe, and progressive environments. It is for these reasons that I highly recommend the council appoint Mr. Gabe Garan to the vacant seat in District 2. And I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Angel Garcia, followed by Ray Bell. Angel Garcia.
Mr. Garcia?
Hello, Madam City Clerk. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You have 3 minutes to speak. You can start when you're ready.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor Zaragoza, Mayor Pro Tem, McDonald City Council, and staff. My name is Angel Garcia. I am a lifelong resident of the city of Oxnard, and I am the Vice Chair of the East Village Neighborhood Council. I am here speaking today in support of Mr. Gabriel Turan. Gabriel Turan is a valuable asset to this community and has proven himself to be a servant leader to the city of Oxnard. Gabriel Turan has done amazing work in the community and has dedicated himself to education, not only to the youth of the community, but to the general public of the city of Oxnard. Gabriel Turan is such an incredible candidate that he has little to no critics in opposition. But the critics that he does have, which is a vocal minority, make outlandish accusations that he's quote unquote a yes man to the council. And I would like to add that these comments have no merit and frankly are unproductive and only serve to add toxic discourse to the community. Gabriel is not a yes man in any of these outlandish accusations. Gabriel is an innovator. He, as an executive member of the INCO, he hosted many forums educating the community. And not only that, even though due to COVID-19, he still took the INCO remotely to Zoom and kept the committee active and continued that education. Gabe is without a doubt a servant leader, and he will lead the Oxnard City Council with integrity and innovation. I hope you take my comments to heart, and I hope that you please consider supporting and voting for Gabe Turan to be the appointee for the District 2 vacancy. City Council and staff, thank you so much for your time. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ray Blatel, followed by Max Gayanis. Ray Blatel.
Mr. Ray Blatel, you have 3 minutes
Yes.
to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, and you can start when you're ready. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor and council members, on January 25 of this year at the city council meeting, I pointed out that the current Oxnard City Code does not contain a defined description of how council appointee candidates will be identified, nor does it describe how the appointee candidates would be processed to the final selection. The approved Ordinance 2995 only provides that the vacated seat would be filled by appointment and that the council appointee would serve until the next election. It did nothing more. At the same council meeting, after my comments, the city attorney stated that my comments would be addressed at tonight's special council meeting. I don't see this on the agenda. Furthermore, the 5-step process outlined tonight, including the 3 resolutions, are also not documented in the Oxnard City Code. Every process executed by staff and city council should be defined and documented in the city code such that like actions may be executed in the same manner and in accordance with the documented process. Otherwise, processes may not have any continuity and could vary from year to year, month to month, and even meeting to meeting. This is not good and not consistent with best practices. Therefore, as I mentioned at the January 25 meeting, I would recommend that the city staff propose and the city council approve an amendment to the Oxnard City Code, Chapter 2, Section 3, which defines and documents the process of how council appointee candidates are identified, that is, via an application process, and how to conduct the interview down select process as described tonight. Relative to tonight's applicants, I hope you select a candidate with an independent mind. Materials presented by staff need to be thoroughly vetted by council members and questions or challenged when appropriate. We will have 7 independent council members, and 7 people acting with only one opinion cannot properly serve the constituents of this city. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Max Bajenes, and followed by Lorena Guisal. Max. Mhm.
He is not available, Mayor.
Madam Clerk, what's that?
I'm sorry, he is not available to
Not
speak at the
available?
moment.
Okay, Lorena Gazar, followed by Steve Nash. Lorena,
Miss Lorena is also not available.
not available. Okay, Steve Nash, followed by Blue Jay Mendoza. Steve Nash.
Mr. Steve Nash?
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, city manager, and staff. I am throwing my support behind Mr. Gabe Turan. I do not live in District 2, but I want to tell you one of the reasons why I support Gabe, and there are many. Gabe's ability and willingness to inform residents via his videos is unprecedented. This is extremely important. I have always stressed the importance of civic engagement and transparency and trying to inform the citizenry. This is Gabe does this through his videos. This is all we can ask of our elected leaders. Just give us the facts and let us decide the issue for ourselves so we can urge our elected leaders to vote our interest. Gabe has utilized social media in a way that few other politicians or candidates have done. This ability to exploit and manipulate social media for the good of the community is long overdue from our political class, and we all owe Gabe our strongest commendations for doing this. When we watch one of his videos, we are watching just the tip of the iceberg of his efforts. He has put the time in to read the reports, initiatives, and measures, contemplate their larger implications, and take it from me. This is extremely hard work and very time consuming. Now, I've listed just one of the reasons why I support Gabe. There are many others. I believe our beautiful city and its amazing residents will be well served by the presence of Gabe up on the dais. So thank you for your efforts in trying to make this process as fair as possible. I do want to say to the other candidates that District 2 is loaded with talented people, and I hope that they all stay engaged and supportive of our great city. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Blue Jay Mendoza, followed by Lucy Cartagena. Blue Jay Mendoza.
Mayor, Mr. Mendoza is not available at this time.
Okay. Lucy Cartagena, followed by Adam Gonzalez. Lucy.
Lucy is also not available.
Okay. Adam Gonzalez, followed by Manuel Herrera. Adam Gonzalez. Oh, Max?
He's on now.
Okay, Max, so you're on.
Oh, no.
Hello. Thank you, Mayor Zaragoza and City Council members. I'm actually speaking on behalf of Ventura County YIMBY. I am an Oxnard resident myself, and Ventura County YIMBY is a grassroots group dedicated to solving the housing crisis in Ventura County, Oxnard, and California. And we wholeheartedly endorse Gabe Turan for this position. Sorry.
Okay.
Should I continue? Okay. We actually sent out a questionnaire to every candidate for the appointment, and we got 5 responses. Gabe Turan's was by far the most comprehensive in terms of his vision for how to address the housing crisis and also how to foster really healthy relationships within the city on what's generally a quite controversial issue. He supported, for example, more bike and pedestrian pathways as well, which is an important way to reduce vehicle reliance and the parking shortages that often make it difficult to approve more housing in Oxnard. So I also had a wonderful chat with Gabe and found him to be just very open-minded kind of leader, the kind of person with the background and the qualifications and demeanor that we need to move this city forward. So thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you, Max. Adam Gonzalez will be the next one, followed by Manuel Herrera. Adam Gonzalez.
Mayor, Adam Gonzalez is not available.
Not available. Okay, Manuel Herrera, followed by Barbara Mackey Ortiz. Manuel Herrera.
Mr. Herrera?
Hello, am I being heard?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You do sound a little low, but we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Zaragoza, Mayor Pro Tem McDonald, members of the City Council, staff, and City Manager. My name is Manuel Herrera. I am the creator of Citizens for a Better Oxnard. However, today I am speaking as a resident of District 2. First of all, I wanted to thank and commend all of the 13 applicants who submitted their request to be our next City Council representative. It's great to see so many citizens stepping up to the plate. But as we all know, there can only be one person appointed tonight. What I personally have done and what I recommend our City Council to do is to use the point system when picking the best candidate. 1 point for experience, 1 point for community involvement, 1 point for education, et cetera, et cetera. If you do this, then I'm sure you will come with the same results that I did. And that is that Gabe Turan should be appointed as our next council representative. When Carmen Ramirez first announced that she was running for county supervisor, I posted on Citizens for a Better Oxnard that I will be more than likely running for her seat. And I was definitely going to do that until I saw that Mr. Turan was considering it. That's when I realized that even with all my community involvement and credentials, not even I can match his credentials. So I humbly just stepped aside. Then after reviewing all the applicants and using the point system, it was obvious to me that Gabe Turan is the perfect candidate to be our next city councilman. 2 days ago at the city council meeting, I went over his impressive credentials with you, and I also talked about the recent candidates forum and that he and some of the other candidates participated in, and I explained how impressed I was with his performance. I hope you all took the time to watch the video of that forum, because if you did, and you combine that with Mr. Turan's community experience, his likability, his education, and his many years of community involvement, then you too will come to the same conclusion, that Gabe Turan is the best qualified candidate to replace Carmen Ramirez. I trust you will make the right decision tonight and appoint Gabe Turan as our new council representative. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Barbara Macri Ortiz, followed by Angela Whitecomb. Barbara Macri Ortiz.
Good evening, Ms. Macri Ortiz. Are you on
Hello.
the line? Yes, hi.
Yes, hi. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you
Okay,
for
great.
calling in. You have 3
Okay,
minutes
thank you.
to address council. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Greetings, Mayor Zaragoza and council members. My name is Barbara Macri Ortiz. I am very pleased to see the interest and desire of so many candidates for the District 2 seat. Whoever's appointed will have some pretty big shoes to fill. As an Oxnard resident and resident of District 2, your decision is very important to me. I'm speaking tonight in support of candidate Gabriel Taran specifically because of the excellent leadership that Gabe has demonstrated as the president of the Fremont South Neighborhood Council. I have been a resident of Fremont South for the last 29 years, and I can say without hesitation that Gabe has been the most effective neighborhood council president that I have worked with. Gabe has demonstrated the leadership qualities necessary to represent our district and our city. Gabe brought our neighborhood together to embrace and support the homeless shelter. Now that was no small feat. Gabe is an inclusive leader, knowledgeable, respectful, and informed. When faced with a new issue or question, Gabe first does his homework to become informed and then to inform others. He leads by example and with a quiet confidence that serves him well and will serve the city well. He is a soft-spoken leader who knows our community and exhibits the necessary qualities needed to inform, to educate, and to unite our residents. And Gabe has demonstrated the vision and judgment necessary to help guide our city and be a constructive voice when the council is faced with the many difficult decisions that lay ahead. I thank you very much for your consideration, and I also thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you so much. Angela Whitecomb, followed by Angela Whitecomb.
Angela Whitecomb is not available, Mayor.
Not available. Our next speaker is Mary Lou Gonzalez, Spanish speaking. She's got 6 minutes. Mary Lou Gonzalez tiene 6 minutos.
Mayor, she sent us a message that she will not be able to speak as planned tonight.
Oh, she's not able to speak.
No,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Yosham Ramos, followed by Marianne Rodriguez.
Marianne Rodriguez is on the line. Ms. Ramos is not available.
Okay, but Marianne Rodriguez is okay, 3 minutes.
Yes, Mayor.
And Marianne is followed by Francisco Sanchez. Marianne?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Ms. Rodriguez, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
evening. My name is Marianne Rodriguez, and I am an Oxnard resident. I'm calling this evening in support of Veronica Robles Solis for City Council District 2. These last couple of years, I have worked with Veronica as a parent volunteer. Under Veronica's leadership as PTA president, we raised a little bit over $100,000 for our school. Our goal as parents is to support our school and, most importantly, our students and teachers. I worked with Veronica to support our kids in our community. Veronica is dedicated to her community and would be a great asset to the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Francisco Sanchez, followed by Chris Hernandez. Francisco Sanchez.
Mayor, Francisco Sanchez is not available. We do have Mr. Chris Hernandez on the line.
Okay, Cliff Hernandez. Okay, Cliff.
Mr. Hernandez? Mr.
Cliff or Chris?
Chris Hernandez?
Chris, okay. Chris Hernandez, followed by Alejandra Valencia. Chris Hernandez.
Sir, are you there? Please unmute by pressing *6. Chris Hernandez?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, but we can barely hear you.
Oh, sorry, but can you hear me now?
Yes, much better. Thank you. You have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, City Manager, Mayor Zaragoza, Mayor Pro Tem McDonald, City Council, and City officials. First, I'd like to start off by applauding everybody, all the applicants who stepped up and gave their their performance and talked about their degrees and whatnot. Um, it really does take a lot to step forward and be a voice for the community. I am the vice chair of the Five Points Neighborhood Council. And when I first started my work, I was inspired by Manuel Herrera's page, Citizens for a Better Oxnard. And that's how I really began to do my stepping forward into the eyes of the city officials. Just gave me the inspiration to step forward. And one of the people that I've noticed the most from the beginning was Gabe Turan. And I reached out to Gabe Turan, and he has always reached back to me. He has always responded from day one. So from the beginning of my work, before anybody knew what I was doing, and he has always answered my questions regarding, situations on who to talk to about potholes in the city. What can I do about establishing a bank account for the neighborhood council? Um, Things such as getting in touch with directors from the OPAC to do events for them. Gabe has always been the one to be on top of things, and I don't know how he does it. Doing what he does, and after hearing how extensive his record is and has been in the community, um, to me, Gabe is a blessing. Gabe is a blessing, not only to District 2, but to the whole city of Oxnard. And I definitely endorse Gabe and support his decision, and I stand behind him with all due respect to the other applicants. But to be completely honest, I don't know, and I've never heard of the other applicants aside from Mr. Vincent Stewart. Um, but Gabe is definitely someone who I have always been in touch with, and who, like I said, with valuable information. Um, he's definitely for the people. And to hear that he's been working with the youth, and that's something I'm definitely big on and I believe in. I believe that Gabe is definitely the right man and the right person for District 2 and the city of Oxnard. So I would definitely stand behind him, and I would suggest that
Sir,
everybody.
your time is up.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Alejandra Valencia, followed by Joanne Olivares. Alejandra Valencia.
Ms. Valencia?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mayor Zaragoza and council members. This evening, I wanted to go ahead and express my uttermost gratitude for providing a platform where our potential council members could really have and express themselves on why they really want to be the next District 2 council member. First and foremost, I would like to praise and endorse Mr. Teran, Gabe. And what can I say about Gabe is that he has the uttermost passion and is so passionate about the work that he does within the city, in the capacity that I've known him in on a personal capacity. And what can I say about Gabe is that he has his involvement with the city, his involvement with the youth, his involvement in prevention programs, and his vision, an overall arching vision that really showcases the work that that encompasses not only on what he does in his professional level, but what he really sees in as a passion for him. And it's something that has created a sense of mobilization within the community of Oxnard and a sense of pride within the community of Oxnard. And that's something I feel has been lacking in the past. And with his videos and his advocacy and his charisma and his charm and his approach towards the city's needs and the way he would address something like this, which is something that the city needs, especially with our families and the community and the youth, is something that we definitely want, and we want to see it. And there is no better candidate than Gabe Turan. And I thank you all and have a great night.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Joanna Olivares, followed by Eric Fruth. Joanna Olivares.
Joanne Olivares is not available, Mayor.
Okay. Eric Fruth, followed by Clay Downing. Eric.
Mr. Eric Fruth?
Good evening, City Council members. I am calling today to support the candidacy of Gabe Teran. I'm a resident of District 2, and I won't expound upon his numerous qualifications, which he's already described to you. And I think at this point, it's abundantly clear that he's the most qualified candidate to fill the council member position. What I'd like to underscore is Gabe's ability to connect with his neighbors. I met Gabe a little bit less than a year ago when I moved to Oxnard from Camarillo, and have never met him in person since we only became acquainted during the pandemic. And yet I'm here this evening speaking in support of him. The reason why is because while his knowledge of the workings of the city of Oxnard are profound, as you already know, he has an incredible ability to translate that knowledge into understandable information for the people in his community, for his neighbors, people who he has shown dedication for. He cares really deeply. And the fact that he cares is so important that it's almost revolutionary. The reason why is because it leads him to see and understand the roots of complex and intractable issues that exist in our society. For example, he was one of the only candidates to link the issue of homelessness to its roots in insufficient housing stocks. That is the type of critical thought rooted in compassion and neighborliness that I believe we need in Oxnard. That's why Gabe Teran should fill the District 2 seat. He's the best candidate and the best person for the job. Thank you.
Thank you, Clay Downing, followed by Alicia Parcell. Clay Downing.
Mr. Downing?
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can. You have 3 minutes to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Zaragoza, council members, all the candidates that can join us tonight, thank you for letting me speak. My name's Clay Downing. I'm a resident of District 2 in the River Park neighborhood, and I'm calling tonight to support the appointment of Gabe Teran. And I would say that I got to know Gabe when I was serving as the chair for the River Park Neighborhood Council. And I think that he really emulates the kind of service-oriented demeanor, is already an active community leader, and is the sort of person that we would hope to see participating in Oxnard's decision-making process. You can see a number of the things that have already been stated about his activities as commissioner in the INCO, part of the neighborhood council, and anyone that's following things like Citizens for a Better Oxnard sees that he's an active participant in community dialogue. I would just hope that that's the sort of thing that all of us want to see be a part of Oxnard's decision-making process. And so I think he really brings a lot to those hard decisions that our city faces ahead of it. And I'd like to see him representing my district. So I'd say that I'm incredibly grateful that we have so many active residents that threw their hat in the ring, that are interested in being leaders in our community and who already are. But Gabe Teran, to me, is already demonstrating the kind of leadership that we deserve to have on our city council representing my district. And that's the end of my comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Alicia Parcell, followed by Greg Runyon, Pastor Greg Runyon. Alicia Purcell, excuse me.
Ms. Purcell?
I'm here.
Yes, hi, thank you. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you. So I want to respond to an earlier speaker because I'm one of the people who has previously described Mr. Teran as a yes man to the existing city council. And these are not unwarranted characterizations. Mr. Teran faithfully repeated the city manager's talking points about a number of issues in the months leading up to the November election. And all the videos that people have been mentioning tonight that he made to inform the public didn't really seem to be his own independently generated thoughts. He even used the city's own slides from the presentations at city council to simply present carbon copies of what the city manager wanted said. And the residents could have just watched the city council meeting for themselves and gotten the exact same spin. You had 13 applicants for this district seat, which demonstrates a high level of community interest. And surely out of all these applicants, you can manage to appoint someone qualified who isn't a personal friend of the city manager. Because if that's all you intend to do, it just perpetuate the insiders club, then you've really wasted the time of a lot of these applicants who spent time and effort. And we're really expecting to get a fair consideration. But unfortunately, many of us believe that what most council members would prefer is someone who's not going to rock the boat by straying from what the city manager wants done, which is why we expect Mr. Tran will be appointed. As far as being a potential representative of his district, he vocally opposed 3 ballot measures, which the residents supported. So, perhaps he's not that in tune with what their opinions are. And I saw from some of his own emails that he posted to social media that the city attorney's office had to scold him about a Brown Act violation on the INCO e-board. So I guess he'll fit right in with the status quo. And perhaps you're going to prove me wrong. That'd be great, but I'm not going to hold my breath for that. So surprise me. Let's think outside the box for a change. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Greg Runyon, Pastor Greg Runyon, followed by our last speaker, Armando Delgado. Greg Runyon.
Mr. Greg Runyon, are you available?
I am. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, sir. You have 3 minutes to speak. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to shock everybody and say that I believe Gabe Turan is the most qualified candidate. I was not keeping track, but there's an awful lot, maybe except for 2 of the speakers who did not voice their approval of him. I want to say, though, that I come at this from a different way, and I listened to this, and I was very struck by some comments. And I hope that all of us can listen to Gabe and find some humility. I know some people were talking about the fact that, well, if he doesn't agree with us, he's not a good candidate. And that is what perpetuates the problem we're in right now. Gabe and I don't agree about everything. But there's one thing I know. I know that Gabe will listen to me. I know that Gabe will respect me if I disagree with them. I know that Gabe will not attack me. I know that there will not be name calling. And I know that Gabe will do his very best to listen to all the residents of all the community. People forget that we have 7 districts, but you're going to be voting on projects in all the districts. And yes, you have to represent District 2, but you have to represent the entire city of Oxnard. And Gabe has demonstrated, not just by the videos he shows, because listen, anybody can open a Facebook account and anybody can put a video out there, and there's a lot of slick people that can do that, but their heart isn't what really shines through. And that's what shines through with Gabe. His heart, his knowledge, his ability to connect with people. Gabe's a fair man. I'm not going to tell you that I know Gabe incredibly well, but I do know this. Gabe will represent all of us. Gabe will represent those he disagrees with. And Gabe will take the time, if he disagrees with you, to hear you out, because Gabe's not a person who's going to consistently be a quote unquote yes man or a no man. And I look forward to the day when Gabe agrees with those he disagrees with. And I look forward to the day when Gabe tells whoever that unfortunately he can't support this. But I support Gabe because of the man he is, because of his character, and because I know that for this time, for right now, Gabe's the man we need, because he'll try and pull our community together instead of continue to pull it apart through attacks and just the same old thing that we've always gotten. So please, all of us, can we try? Just try to, be agreeable, even if we disagree. And can we try that when people attack us, let's take the high road and let's be better. And I think Gabe Turan will lead this. Thank you in that. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Armando Delgado. And I understand that Blue Jay Mendoza is available now. So Armando Delgado and then Blue Jay. Armando?
Mr. Delgado?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council, staff, applicants, and fellow politically active residents of Oxnard. We are no strangers to city council meetings, nor planning commissions, school boards, special districts, or the county board of supervisors. What we have here tonight is more of a blessing with so many applicants rather than a curse like many have cast upon us over social media and right here tonight. I guess some people are just never happy and are always against the grain. My name is Armando Delgado, and I represent 1,800 local 805 union carpenters and their families. As a lifelong resident, I can say I've lived in every district of Oxnard and currently live in District 2. But today our endorsement doesn't come from me. I want you to hear it from our rank and file members that live in Oxnard and have volunteered in many events hosted by one of the applicants. So let me read it. Dear Mayor and honorable council members, as the chairman of the Carpenters Local 805 Political Action Committee, I am writing to express our support for and ask for the council to appoint Gabriel Turan for the Oxnard City Council District 2 vacancy. We are a committee formed of everyday hardworking rank and file members who take a particular interest in local government for the betterment of our industry and local economy. As professional tradesmen, our carpenters support candidates who are committed to improving the lives of our members and families. In making our decision, Local 805 Political Action Committee recognized his willingness to stand for working families like ours by addressing the need of investing in our infrastructure, supporting prevailing wages for our workers, and advocating for the benefits our members have earned. We expect that working together with you all, he can help boost better quality of life for all our members and residents of this community, including the women, veterans, youth, and disadvantaged residents. We stand proudly with him in building better community wealth. Please feel free to contact our organization and let everyone know that we endorse Gabriel Turan. Thank you. Michael Escamilla, Chairman of Carpenters Local 805 Political Action Committee.
Thank you, Armando.
I'm not done. I'm sorry.
Okay, you got 55 minutes. Go ahead.
I have
seconds.
one last thing to say in español. Estimado alcalde y honorables concejales, como presidente del Comité de los Hermanos Unidos del Local 805 de Carpinteros, les escribo para expresar nuestro apoyo y solicitamos que el concilio nombre a Gabriel Terán como representante del segundo distrito de la ciudad de Oxnard. Somos un comité formado por miembros hispanos que trabajan duro todos los días y que tienen un interés en particular en el gobierno local. Esperamos que al trabajar con ustedes, él pueda ayudar a mejorar la calidad y la vida de los miembros de nuestra comunidad. Estamos orgullosos de reconocer a Gabriel Terán como el próximo miembro del concilio para el distrito número 2. It's not just about business. I mean, it's just business, professional, and leadership from Gabriel's side. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I understand we have Blue Jay.
Yes, let me check the line that's on hold.
Okay. Blue Jay Mendoza.
Hello, Mr. Mendoza?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Did you sign up for public comment?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you have 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, so I'm hearing a echo. Are you guys hearing echo? Hello?
Yep, you're okay. We can hear you.
If you have your
Okay,
TV
perfect.
on, you may want to turn it off.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I wanted to just share a couple words of for one of the candidates that's running for District 2, Ricardo Torres. Sorry, is this okay?
Much better.
Okay. So yeah, just wanted to just point out a couple of things. He throughout the community, I mean, he has shown, and from what I've seen in my personal relationship with him, he has extreme care for the city of Oxnard, and he's just been this open-minded individual that I can sit down and talk to with, and really just kind of throw out each other's point of views and respect them. And that's why I feel like he is a perfect candidate for this. I understand he does not have like an active social media account, and that might be a big thing here now, but I don't know Gabe Duran. This is just now that I've been kind of getting more active with uh, the 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 District 2 opening from that just came up. So that's when I kind of started hearing about him, but not only not having a just having a social media account does not mean that it makes him the best candidate. And I just really wanted to say that I know there's a lot of support for him, and I respect that as well. But I also don't want that Ricardo Torres's candidacy or run for this kind of just get thrown out there for no reason. He's done a lot, as you guys may have seen in his application, almost 10 years of working with the housing, and District 2 is gets a little bit of the homeless issue, gets a little bit of all the issues from all of Oxnard.
30
And it's gonna be
seconds.
a great candidacy. I mean, I'm a business owner for City of Oxnard, live in Carriage Square, and I love City of Oxnard as a whole, and I would love for Ricardo Torres to get this opportunity. That would be all for me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and all the speakers and council members. We've been here since 5 o'clock, so we're going to take a 5-minute break and then we'll be right back. 5 minutes. Thank you so much. Hey, good evening. We're back in session. And now I'm getting over to the council members. Our next item, council members, would be I'd like to ask each council member to please state the two applicants, the two highest applicants that they think should be our next council member, the top two applicants. And you can share that verbally. We can start off with Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank all the applicants that participated in this process. I've spent all day reading paperwork. Each of you brings something very special to the table, and I appreciate all of your efforts and being willing to stand up for your community. So thank you very much. And this was not an easy choice, Mr. Mayor. I'll be pretty honest about it. I'm going to select as my top two suggestions will be Mr. Gabe Turan and lost the other one. Hang on just a second here, Mr. Ricardo Torres.
Ricardo Torres, okay. And Councilmember Perello.
First, I'd like to compliment this group. The newspaper covered it very well. There were more people in this race than there were throughout the entire city for the races. So you're to be complimented. And I hope those that are not successful pay attention and stay involved, because November there's an election. Putting yourself in the line of fire, you're finding, some of you have done it before, but you're finding it's very interesting. And a lot of you I'd not heard of before. Very interesting, very good. I need to take a moment and thank Mr. Chavez for the closing that he had. You thanked everybody, a very classy closing. I hope those of you that do not get selected to be the chair, consider running and placing yourselves on a CAG. The city is begging for people to serve on a CAG. I have, and my understanding is, Mayor, that we announced two people, and later there will be questions and answers of the people
sir.
that we wish to. Okay.
Right.
I was very impressed with the very first candidate, specifically because when she talked about her business background and the years of training, and she didn't get a chance to warm up, she took it cold right off the bat. And I'm impressed with Mr. Torres. Those are my two choices.
Okay, Torres and Nanez and Torres?
Nanez and Torres.
Nanez and Torres, okay. Thank you. Councilman Madrigal.
Thank you very much. I want to thank every single one of the candidates for, actually not only applying, but going through the entire process. I know this is a difficult process. I've ran before when there's 11 people, and I know that it's a very grueling process. My hat's off to everyone that did this. It was a very tough decision. I do have my two top candidates. My two top candidates would be Veronica Robles Solis, and my second candidate would be Ricardo Torres.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Basua, Councilwoman Basua.
Thank you, Mayor. I also want to take just a moment to thank every single applicant that took the time to apply. Your courage and willingness to serve the citizens of Oxnard is admirable. And every single one of you brings something so unique to this table that I am forever grateful to have seen your resumes. And my top two are Veronica Solis and Ricardo Torres also.
Okay, and Councilmember Lopez.
Thank you, Mayor. I will also follow along and thank everyone who has expressed interest and to all those who have written in, who have reached out to provide your input in the process. It was definitely very enlightening to learn about the 13 applicants and getting to see so much more that is available, the community that makes up the city of Oxnard. So with that, my top two are Ms. Solis, Veronica, and Mr. Turan.
And Gabe, okay. And my are Gabriel Turan and Chavez. Yes. Mhm. So we have 5 people. Huh? Okay, so council members, do they have any follow-up questions from the applicants? So that we have Gabriel and Torres, right? Five applicants. Okay, we got Gabriel Turan, Ricardo Torres, Liz Ann Nunez, and Veronica Robles, and Pedro Chavez. So we got 5. So the council members, do you have any questions you might want to ask those individuals? Okay, so if not, then
Well,
then we go to not.
is this just fire away? You're going to call everybody for a question? Mayor, how are you handling this?
Okay, go ahead, Mr.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
So if you have a question, then please go ahead and ask.
Do you have any questions? If not, then we can go on. Any questions?
Yes.
Okay, go
Yes,
ahead.
I have a question of Mr. Turan. Highly qualified individual, but there is an issue with endorsement by Yippee. And that endorsement went contrary to what the council's and the planning commission's action was. And I was wondering, why would you take an endorsement going against the council and the planning commission?
Thank you for that question, Councilmember Perillo. I looked over the stances that Yippee had on housing, and I have to say that as a council member, if I were appointed, I may not always go with what my colleagues go with. I have to look at what the research says. I have to look at evidence that shows what we can do to increase and to improve our housing situation for our residents, because at the end of the day, we have residents who are struggling because they don't have access to housing. They don't have the ability to afford housing. And when I looked at the information that they had provided to all of the applicants, I agreed with many of those stances that they had and many of the potential policies that were in place. Now, I have to say, it would be a discussion. I would be one person to bring that forward. And maybe it's something that we have great discussion on and it goes forward. Maybe it doesn't, but it's incumbent on me representing our residents to see what are ways that are looking like they're evidence-based and have success in other jurisdictions that might best serve our community. And that's why I did that. Thank you, Councilmember Perillo.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a question of Gabriel. Gabriel, how would you approach balancing the citywide issues with District 2 specific needs? We have a lot of balancing citywide issues. How would you approach that?
Thank you, Mayor Zaragoza, for that question. So balancing the citywide issues versus the district-specific issues, I think it's important to take a holistic view on everything that we do. And I have to do this whether it is I'm working with an individual student, whether I'm working with a student group, whether I'm working with staff at a school, or I'm working with an entire school district or a community. And when I have district-specific issues that come up, I have to be able to know what are the resources that are available to us. So for example, I mentioned the district meetings we held back in 2019. The first district that we did for a district meeting to pilot the entire initiative through the INCO was District 2. And I mentioned we had done a quality of life survey, and that revealed that the majority of the people who took the survey, we had nearly 400 people, 1 in every 5 was from District 2, and they identified parking as one of their main issues. I would look at, this is what my district is saying is important. What are the resources to address this? So using parking as an example, If I look at our public works department and I look at our engineering, our street engineering, what are the issues that are going on that can help address that for our district? Now, parking is a great example because that is also an issue that affects our entire city, multiple neighborhoods in many districts. And so again, going with parking as an example again, if something works well for District 2, what are some modifications we can do if we find some really great ways to address parking that can work in other districts or citywide? And as luck would have it, for our Fremont South Neighborhood Council meeting we have coming up on February 18th, parking and curb cutting permits are on the agenda for that because it's important to my residents, to my neighbors, that be addressed. And we're not pitting neighbor against neighbor. We're having inclusive discussion and solutions-oriented facilitation. So that way we can approach it from a very unified way, find consensus and find ways to work with the city to solve the issue. So if we were able to find something that works, that could maybe be propagated throughout the district and throughout the city. But it's important to balance those things because there are things in South Oxnard where I've done a lot of work through Parks and Rec Commission that may not translate well between other parts of the city. So it's important to know those areas, know the residents, and work in partnership with our fellow council members to address them appropriately.
Thank you. Any other council members, any other questions that you might ask the top 5 candidates here, applicants?
I have a question for actually,
Oscar?
yeah, I have a question for all candidates. And it's just a very generic, basic question for everyone. Sorry, real quickly. So real quickly, Oxnard, this is the place we all call home. It is a place that, we all want to represent and make a better city. I'm going through your applications. They were great. Just real quickly, like, what is your favorite thing about the city of Oxnard overall, in general? It could be a place, it could be like something that reminds you of your childhood, just something general, like what is it that you like best of the city of Oxnard?
Council member, we're going to start from the bottom. We'll start off with Pedro Chavez. You want to answer the question? Pedro?
Hi, how's it going? I've been around the world, so I've seen different cities across the United States. And what I love best about Oxnard is its people. We have a rich cultural history and a dynamic and diversity of thought, diversity in community. And so I like the fusion of that diversity and what it brings to our community and its outlook.
Thank you. Our next, Veronica Solis. Answer the question.
Yes, thank you. What I like the most about Oxnard is our community members. We walking around, just going around, even with my children from our house, we walk down to downtown, go get ice cream, go watch a movie. And that's something I think as the kids that's growing up, they're able to remember that they rode their scooters to go get ice cream with me and say hi to their neighbors, that live in our block. So that's something that I think I really enjoy, especially living here in downtown Oxnard, walking to downtown Plaza.
Thank you. Our next one would be Lisanne Nunez.
Hi, thank you for the question. The most thing that I like about Oxnard is, well, growing up here in Oxnard, my favorite thing was my father used to drive us to the old Dairy Queen. We used to get our ice creams. He would take us to the beach and we would park there and we would eat our ice cream in peace. And growing up here, I was able to ride my bikes safely with my 2 sisters and my brother to the various places. And I feel that Oxnard today has some great points of interest. I feel this way about the collection. I love the collection, it's safe. I feel that if we can make our streets and roadways a little bit more safer, that families can actually get to places like this and enjoy this time with their families, their kids, their grandkids. I enjoy having my grandkids at my house and I scooter with them too. And I go to get ice creams with them, but I do see that there's work that needs to get done on the sidewalk. So not just the youth, but also the seniors can enjoy walking and enjoy the parks. I admire the parks that have walkways where you can not just have to walk on the sidewalks, but actually can walk inside the park and enjoy just the peace there. So what I like most about Oxnard is the people. I do my yard work myself because I enjoy gardening, but I love when people walk their dogs and just say hello. They're all strangers, but they're just so friendly. And I want to encourage that more here in Oxnard. Just make it a more better place to live, beautiful, walks, safe, and just be able to get to the fun things, ice creams.
Thank you, Lisanne. Our next person will be Ricardo Torres. You want to answer the question?
No, thank you for the question, Councilmember Madrigal. I was actually originally going to respond when you first asked the question with the people, but since that has already been answered, I'm going to go ahead and say El Parque de León, the Lion Park. That's my favorite part of Oxnard because it brings so many childhood memories. Growing up, that was a place where we had our parties, our first communions, our baptisms. My father and his brothers were part of the United Farm Workers, where they were advocating against when they were trying to unionize from the pig suite back in the day, back in the early 2000s. That was their gathering point. So there's so many memories that we have built as a family at that park. It just connects me to everything that Oxnard has provided and given to me. So I would say that's probably my favorite part about Oxnard.
Gabe.
Oh, thank you, Mayor Zaragoza. Thank you for the question, Councilmember Madrigal. I have to say the people also, even though it was already mentioned, but for a very important reason. In my work and being able to, when I joined Parks and Rec and then INCO, you get to go all over the city and help build up communities, work with residents directly on initiatives that are important to them and their community. And the thing I love about the people is not just meeting them, not just interacting with them, but seeing the connections. There's so much rich history in the city of Oxnard. I have met so many people that I realize that I am distantly related to, or I find that they're related to someone I know, or that they are related to somebody I just spoke with, maybe 20 minutes ago. And it's a city of over 200,000 people, yet so many of us are so interconnected through generations of people who've lived here and come before us and where we are today. And I think that rich history in a city of this size is something that is nearly impossible to replicate anywhere else. And with that history, I'd like to point out the screen behind me. I was born here. This is the old St. John's Hospital. It's now a retirement facility, but this is where I grew up. This is my neighborhood, and that history and the richness of the people is what I love most about Oxnard. So thank you very much.
Okay, if none, we're going to go to the next round here. I'm going to call for nominations, and I'm going to ask each council member to nominate.
I'm
their first
sorry.
choice.
Ask one
Oh,
question.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, this is a question for Veronica Solis. I'm curious how you believe that your time at the district office is going to translate to this council, if you were to be the chosen one.
I think my 10 years, I'm sorry, could I answer? I think my 10 years at the district with my experience, I've been able to budget balance as well, as well as take on some very difficult decisions that we've had been hit with the budget. But also, I think I've been able to connect with families around, I'm from District 3, and I've been able to connect with families from Lemonwood, from Harrington, Elm, but also not only those schools. I believe that I'm not only part of District 3, but I am part of the entire community of the Oxnard School District. And with balancing our budgets, we only supervise and we only oversee the superintendent. But at the same time, I see it as we're a helicopter where we set policies of the district, we set our goals and our vision of how we're going to direct the school district. It's very important that we all work together as a team, especially when it's 5 different board of trustees, and we at one point we all have different mentalities. We all want something different, but at the end of the day, we all have to be in the same line. We all have to have the same vision to move forward. Because at the end of the day, we want the same vision for our district. You know, in these last 10 years, it hasn't been easy, and it's different once you sit on the dais, because once you're in the public, you have different information. Once you're in the dais and you have to vote for different items, and you have different information that you get in closed session, the reason why you vote is the reason why you vote a certain way is for the betterment of our city or our school district, but also to move forward toward the positive point.
Thank you, Veronica. Any other questions from council members? Councilmember Perillo?
Yes, if I can ask another one. One thing that has come up, and not just in this race, but other races, there will be people that say they are native, born and raised here, multi-generational. But in this specific district, District 2, it's probably the largest district of all the city of Oxnard, because it has got River Park and Wagon Wheel, and they were not included in the last census. The majority of those people, I don't believe, are native-born Oxnards. How do you address the issue, all of you? How do you address the issue that somebody may not be native-born Oxnard or multi-generational, and they expect the same square deal as anybody else in the city of Oxnard? I'm curious for all the candidates.
That's a good question. Okay, we'll start randomly here. Nanez, listen, Nanez, can you answer the question?
Yes, hi, thank you for the question. I agree with council member. I am native born here. I was born in St. John's Hospital and raised in districts 4, 5, and 6 as a child. When I bought my first house in District 1 at age 22, and then at age 27 bought in District 2. So I have been here. I've been on all the baseball, Little League, Teen Moms, scorekeeper. I've been involved with the community every aspect of my life. My parents are here. They've been married 64 years. They're still here in Oxnard in District 4. So I understand that I am considered homegrown, 100% born here in Oxnard. And I feel that I should have an advantage over that as homegrown because I do see the end to end. My 4 children, they all still live here, 2 police officers. I see that side of the city. My eldest son is a business owner. He's an electrician and, struggled through pandemic. I've seen all the pandemic hit, and my daughter is pre-med, and I worked very hard. I paid for their college out of my own pocket. Middle class doesn't get much help. So I have struggled as a mother to get these kids, as operative as I could, as great citizens and leaders in the city. So I think that someone that's homegrown such as I should have a leading edge over someone who is not actually born in these districts and considered homegrown here in the Oxnard.
Thank you. Ricardo Torres, can you answer the question that Councilman Perillo has?
Sure. Thank you, Councilman Perillo, for the question. So actually, one thing that I didn't get to share with you all during the 10 minutes is when me and my wife bought our first home, we couldn't afford to live in Oxnard, right? We're 2 young college grads. We couldn't afford to buy a house in Oxnard. We're renters. So we bought it. We lived in Port Hueneme for a couple of years. So that experience of relocating out of a need, I think gives me an opportunity to communicate and connect with our Wagon Wheel and our River Park communities, because they're relocating from other places to Oxnard for a reason. And I think that's one thing I addressed in my presentation today. There's a big disconnect. I spoke to a lot of people that I know that have relocated to River Park, obviously in formal serving. A lot of them didn't even know who represented them. They have no clue that there was a special appointment for the District 2. So for us, it's really important for us to find a way to connect them into Oxnard, welcome them in, and at the same time find a way to integrate Oxnard into their Oxnard, because it is 2 different worlds. Another thing that I think is important and an advantage that I have is, I'm a part of that younger generation that can connect with some of their interests. So I definitely think that post COVID, if we're able to organize and River Park continues organizing some of the events that a lot of our Oxnardians already go to, we can use that as a platform to integrate not only them with us, but us with them.
Thank you. Veronica Solis, can you answer the question for the council member?
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
I understand Wagon Wheel and River Park is new, but I think we need to include Wagon Wheel because they are part of Oxnard, even though they're new residents. But we also have to think about the senior citizens that are now moving into that senior residential home. And we just need to include them. And I think as the more new community members we have in our city, I think that it's a positive for Oxnard. Because we've had this negative mentality of Oxnard. And that's something that I always start with the district, where we need to change the mentality of our school district to bring a positive district for our kids to stay in the schools and not be taken out of the school site. So when it comes to new residents, I'm always thinking, let's include them and make them their home. This is the new residential home. This is Oxnard, and I'm happy to see new residents moving into Oxnard.
Thank you, Veronica. Gabriel Terran, can you answer the question for?
Yes, thank you for the question, Councilmember Perillo. It's a really good one. I was trying to think about, well, how can I succinctly put this? And it comes down to all residents are constituents, regardless of what neighborhood they live in, regardless of where they are in the Oxnard. All Oxnard residents are Oxnard residents. They're constituents. And I can't imagine there being an instance where I would say or do something that would be non-inclusive of any neighborhood, be it River Park or Wagon Wheel or anywhere else in the city. And when I look at it like that, people are here, regardless of when they moved here or where they came from, they are now Oxnard residents. And I think it's incumbent on us as community members or for representatives to be able to let them know that we are here representing them, or we're here to be community, to form community with them. And I hope that people who are moving into newer developments coming from other areas will love Oxnard so much, just as many of us multi-generational families have, that they will lay down roots, and that one day they will have generations from now people saying, I'm a fifth generation, sixth generation Oxnard resident from that one family who first moved here in 2021 into one of those newer developments. And it starts from there. But it's incumbent on us to be inclusive of them in all of our decision making and what we do policy wise and how we have them be part of the community.
Thank you. Pedro Chavez, can you answer the question that Councilman Perillo has?
Sure. So we have a rich history dating back to 1903. And so we've seen a tremendous amount of growth. That growth has brought people from all walks of life to our community here. Right now, we see a separation in District 2, and the 101 cuts right through it, right? We see the new development, the collection, right? And again, people who live in Oxnard, that the collection, I know personally, have not even been to downtown Oxnard. So we have to do a better job in the city and stop creating barriers and separations and bring people together. Again, it's about shared values and collective responsibility. And that means that if we have shared values, we want a clean street, we want a clean park, we want elected officials who are transparent and open to the process. We want to create harmony amongst our neighbors in our neighborhoods. And again, sharing the history, the rich history of Oxnard, you don't have to be born here in order to be part of Oxnard. We're all part of Oxnard, right? And there shouldn't be a separation just between transplants and those that are native here. So I see that we have a lot of work to do, especially because we created these plan unit developments. And again, it's a great thing for Oxnard, right? Because we're growing our tax base. Think about the collection and what that has done to our tax base. At one time, the leadership of this council decided not to go for the outlets in Camarillo, right? They were looking for a place to put outlets. And the leadership of this council decided, we're gonna take a pass on that. And look what that did for Camarillo's tax base. Again, what it did for Camarillo and what it transformed its downtown area. So again, we are one Oxnard, and I think we need to stick to teaching and each other about the value of our rich history, and also learning about where people come from in order to appreciate their value and their commitment and their responsibility to our city.
Thank you. Any additional questions from council members? Okay. I don't see any. So our next item here is, I'd like to call for nominations. I'd like to have each council member nominate one applicant. And we'll start off with Mayor Pro Tem McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would nominate Mr. Gabe Turan.
Okay, Councilmember Perello.
Mr. Torres.
Okay, Oscar Madrigal.
Veronica Robles Solis.
Okay. Councilwoman Basua.
Veronica Solis.
Okay. Councilmember Lopez.
Veronica.
Okay. And I nominate Gabe. So we have Robles 3 and Gabriel 2.
Yeah, there's a
So
nomination.
that was,
Nomination.
yes, that was not the vote, that was nomination. So
Nomination.
the next step would be to call for a vote.
Okay, the vote. Okay, next is going to be vote for. Okay, let me see. Vote would be for Robles first. No. 3.
No.
Okay.
So now if we could have the city clerk do a roll call of each council member to declare their vote for an applicant to fill the vacancy. No. Of any of the applicants.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald.
Gabe Turan.
Councilmember Perello.
Mr. Torres.
Councilmember Basua.
Ms. Solis.
Councilmember Madrigal.
Ms. Solis.
Mayor Zaragoza.
Teran.
Councilmember Lopez.
Miss Solis.
Thank you.
So top 2 is.
So.
Go ahead. Teran and Solis.
So no applicant has received a majority of votes. So at this point, you can repeat the voting process and see if anybody changes their mind, or you could entertain a motion to suspend the rules, in which that would allow the suspension of a particular rule. So otherwise, you can't eliminate anybody from the voting list. However, if somebody wanted to move to suspend the rules, they could ask to remove from consideration an applicant that received the fewest votes or no votes to help narrow the decision-making process.
So if we do that, Mr. City Attorney, then it leaves Teran and Solis. Is that correct?
Well, so yes, if that would be the case, then yes, that would be Teran and Solis.
So
and then you could call for another vote. And again, under the procedural rules, you can't eliminate any applicant.
So we need a motion to suspend the rest of the candidates.
Or you could try another revote, and maybe somebody changes their mind before you resort to suspending the rules.
Mayor,
speak real quick? Can I speak real quickly?
Perello? Go ahead. Go.
Mr. Madrigal was ahead of me.
Oh, my question, I'm pretty sure it's the same as Councilman Perello's, but Mr. Torres did get a vote, so that would leave 3 people, not 2.
So you could do it that way too, eliminate the people who received no votes, and then continue down the line to see if that
With the
assists
3?
in getting. So what we're trying to do, we're not trying to to rush this, but we are trying to give some rationale for somebody to maybe reconsider how they voted previously.
But right now,
And-
go ahead, Perello.
Yes, and I just have one question, just a point of order, clarification. Who runs the election here? Is it the mayor or the city attorney? I want to know the answer and a consistency. And
Right now, go ahead.
So I don't run the election. What I'm doing is I'm giving you
the procedure,
the procedures as stated in the Robert's Rules of Order book, and the suggestion for how to word your steps along the process here.
Mayor Perello, I am running the meeting, but we need legal counsel here. So that's so we do it correctly. That's what we're doing.
Thank you.
So the next item is that if we make a motion to or call for another vote, let's call for another vote then we have three, right? Okay, so we have Terran, Torres, and Solis. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem.
Gabe Tran.
Perello.
I'm going to stick with Torres.
Madrigal.
Solis.
Basuam.
Solis.
And Lopez.
Solis.
So we end up with and Terran. No change. So then our next city attorney would be, our next procedure would be two.
So again, you could entertain a motion to suspend the rules. Now that motion would require a 2/3 vote of the council in order to
suspend the rules to only leave those three candidates, right?
Correct.
So we need a motion.
Well, again, that you could also include in that the person the applicant who received the fewest votes. So no votes and fewest votes, because otherwise nothing changes.
Okay, well, let's make a motion.
I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion, Mayor, for the council to suspend the rules. The person with the least amount of votes drops off, and it's the top two vote getters.
Okay, do we need a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Basua. Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Perello,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza,
Yes.
Councilmember Madrigal,
No.
Councilmember Basua.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 5-1.
Okay, thank you. So that's approved. Now we're down to two candidates, right? Terran and Solis. So another vote. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem.
Gabe Tran.
Gabe. Perello.
Ron.
Okay, Madrigal.
Solis.
Solis. Basua, Councilman Basua.
Solis.
And Lopez.
Mr. Turan.
And my vote is Terran. So Terran is a candidate.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So now you've had a majority vote. Now what you need is a actual motion to appoint.
Okay, so then do I have a motion to appoint the applicant receiving the majority vote to fill the District 2 vacancy until the date of a special election to be held, to be filled the remainder of the term?
Motion. I think the council has spoken, so motion to appoint.
Okay, Councilman Basua made a motion to, do we need a second?
Second.
And also attend, so, and we got a second? And this is to appoint Gabriel Terran to fill the District 2 vacancy until the date of the special election to be held to fill the remainder of that term. Roll call.
Councilmember Basua,
Yes.
Councilmember Madrigal,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember Perrello,
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, so our next item is going to be the adoption of a resolution calling for giving notice to holding a special election on November the 2nd, 2021 to fill the remainder of the District 2 council office term. So we have the resolution and we need a motion for that.
I'll
So
motion.
moved.
What if, first by, I'm
So
sorry.
if I,
Go ahead.
if I could just, before you take this vote, there was a subsequent information from the county on the third resolution to be adopted relating to the election. And that is, the change in that, due to that new information, is the cost of a candidate statement is now estimated to be $1,000 for the special election to be held on November 2nd of this year.
Okay, with that in mind, and let's again adopt a resolution calling and giving notice of holding a special election on November 2nd, 2021 to fill the remainder of the District 2 council office term. And the candidates would be $1,000 fee to apply, correct?
So moved.
A clarification, Mayor,
Okay,
a clarification. It is not
Go ahead.
to apply. It's $1,000 if you want a candidate statement. We need to make sure we get that correctly.
Correct. That, and
Right.
that's pertinent to the third resolution. It seems you're taking the resolution calling the special election right now, correct?
so we can go ahead and take all the two resolutions.
You can move to adopt all three of those resolutions, as long as we're clear on that.
So we need a motion on that to adopt all three resolutions.
Mr. Mayor, I would move the resolutions as adopted in total package,
Okay,
or as amended. I apologize.
okay, thank you. And we need a second.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Lopez. Roll call.
Councilmember Perrello,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Madrigal,
Yes.
Councilmember Basua,
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 6-0.
So, Mr. City Manager, Mr. City Attorney.
So that is, hey, you've gone through all the recommendations and you've successfully appointed somebody to fill the vacancy until that special election is held on November 2nd.
Yeah, and again, I want to thank all the applicants, that this has really been an arduous task. And also thank all the council members for all the work. And congratulations to Mr. Taran you're going to be our applicant that's going to complete, that term until November the 2nd. Mr. Perrello?
Do you have a date, Mr. City Attorney or Mayor or City Manager, when the new council member is sworn in? So that he could, because once he is sworn in, then he become privileged to the various information he needs to know about legal matters, closed session. The earlier he's sworn in, the sooner he can get up to speed.
Yes, sir. And by the way, we're going to swear him in right after this meeting is adjourned.
Okay, thank you.
And the ceremonial swearing in will be at the next council meeting.
The next council member. But we're going to swear him in right there. And I want to thank again all the participants and thank all the council members. And Mr. Taran, stay on because we're going to go ahead and swear you in. Thank you.
I hope that the people that were involved in this will take an opportunity to look at the CAGs because there's a lot of vacancies that we could use you.
Right. So we're going to adjourn the meeting at this time. Thank you so much, council members.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, does the rest of the council need to stay around for the swearing in, or are we?
No. We're going to do that ceremonial in the next council meeting. So thank you. So we're adjourned. But
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all.
Thank you, and Gabriel, stay on. Mhm. Yeah, that's difficult because we haven't done it. Okay. Mhm. Okay, where's Gabriel?